Chapter 593. Jiang Zhao suddenly grabbed her hand. Don't touch me. Did the 2 stitches on the back of this woman's head stop hurting? Or was the anesthetic still working? I'm not touching you. When Yi Er denied it, her face was burning red. She was not touching him. She just wanted to touch him. Then where are you touching? Jiang Zhao's voice was a little hoarse when he asked. He did not dare to turn around to face her. No. Yi Er thought for a while. If it wasn't, then what was it? Since he liked to talk nonsense, she might as well talk nonsense. I just want to see if there's any difference between you and me. I've been sleeping for more than 20 days, and my chest has become thinner. I want to touch and see if that thing of yours has become thinner while I've been sleeping. Jiang Zhao froze for a moment. What? Did she say that he had become thinner? Did she mean that it had become smaller? Didn't she know that men were very mindful of people talking about this? Or had she been led astray by someone? Was she comparing him to someone? Men's bravery in this aspect did not suppress their ambition for their career. When Jiang Zhao turned around and hugged Yi Er, he gently bit her lips. Have you become thinner? At this moment, Yi Er swore to Buddha that she had become super perverted. Female. Because she had become perverted. Heart. Please forgive this woman who had just woken up from her coma yesterday. She had only eaten pork and had never eaten human flesh. She was a little shy, but that was only in response to Jiang Zhao's burning gaze. Actually, in her heart, it was no longer a matter of whether she was shy or not. It was a matter of whether she could take it off or not. The gauze on the left side of her head was a little annoying. She did not know why it needed to be patched. Wasn't it just a small cut? She did not feel anything at all. Since her head did not feel anything, she had to do something that made her feel something, right? Actually, I can't feel whether I've become thinner or not. My hand has become thinner too, so it should feel different from before. When Yi Er finished speaking, she swallowed hard. This was not her fault. It was really not her fault. She could only blame her chest for becoming thinner. Jiang Zhao's was not thinner. The flesh on her stomach was loose, while Jiang Zhao's abs were still in pieces. This difference only made her more and more uncomfortable. The perverted Jiang Zhao. After touching her, she felt as if there were worms crawling all over her body. They kept crawling and crawling until her whole body was itchy. Jiang Zhao could guarantee that he would not act recklessly when the 2 of them slept together. As long as she slept, even if they slept until dawn, he would not do anything to her. After all, her body had just recovered, and he could not bear to torture her. However, he could not stand her seducing him. He found that her seducing him was especially useful. As an official, even if he was just a deputy bureau chief, there were still many women throwing themselves at him. Naturally, he knew the pros and cons of this. Some of these women could not be bought off with money. However, when she came to him, he could not control himself and had her in bed in just a few moves. That was why he said that she was a little fox. She should be a little fox spirit. When she was a few years older, she would be a fox spirit. She was born with the ability to seduce men. Perhaps it was because the way they started their relationship was wrong, so he was always worried about her. He was always afraid that she would seduce other men, that she would flirt with other men, and that she would turn around and sexually bribe other men when he was not paying attention. Although they had lived together for so long, he also knew that she was not very open. It was unlikely that she would do those immoral things. However, being too possessive could easily cause a person's mood to change. Trust was not something that could be built overnight. Be good. Yunyi, be good. Sleep well, okay? He coaxed her and also persuaded himself. Now, he hugged her sideways and held her head with his hand. He was thinking that the stitches had just been stitched up. No, no. Young people were sometimes impulsive. Yi felt that at her age, it was inevitable that she would be impulsive when she was with the man she liked. Even if Yi rejected him, or if she gave in half-heartedly, Jiang Zhao could still make the decision to give himself to her. However, she refused. Not only did she refuse, she even snuggled into his arms. Not only did she touch here, she also touched there. She touched everywhere. Not only did she touch everywhere, she even rubbed everywhere, pinched everywhere, and escaped everywhere. Her hands had started to turn cold. At this moment, they were burning hot. Her face was also burning red. He pulled the blanket down a little to expose her face so that she could breathe more air. However, the moment he pulled the blanket away, Yi heaved a huge sigh of relief. She felt like she was about to suffocate to death. She hooked her arms around Jiang Zhao's neck and started to bite him. She bit him anxiously. She was like a vicious wolf. Other people said that men were like wolves in bed. However, Jiang Zhao felt that at this moment, Yi was like a wolf. She was pouncing on him like a wolf. Jiang Zhao was really worried that Yi had just woken up and was so excited that her blood pressure would rise. Would she faint? Although he really wanted to, he still tried to persuade her. Be good, Yunyi. Don't rush. Don't rush, okay. Yi nodded and nodded. Okay, okay, okay. Don't rush. Which man didn't like a woman to take the initiative and be passionate? Jiang Zhao liked it and was worried at the same time. With these conflicted emotions, he slowly took her. During this process, he had to be gentle, he had to be slow, he had to hold her head. Yunyi, do you think you've lost weight? The man moved slowly, hinting at something. Although Jiang Zhao had already turned on the lights to prevent any disturbances, the soundproofing of the hospital ward had never been very good. Even if it was a private hospital, they were afraid of accidents. Yi panted softly, not daring to make too much noise. The two of them looked like they had just run 5 kilometers. They squatted in the corner and whispered. When they spoke, their panting was louder than their voices. No. No. Hubby is still so awesome. Hubby, hey. Jiang Zhao chuckled and kissed Yi's nose, responding to her voice. Mimi has lost weight. Yi was under pressure. She thought of Ouyang Yan's figure. Do you dislike it? Why would I? I like it regardless of whether you've gained weight or lost weight. I like Yunye's Mimi the most. Hearing the man use the word favorite to describe her, Yi felt like she had reached the clouds in a long time. Xia Qian saw that Shen Kai was about to kick at her and immediately took a step back. Mr. Shen, it's so late. Why aren't you resting? She felt that she should find a topic to talk to Shen Kai and get closer to him. Last time, he insisted on dragging her to the crematorium. What about this time? This kind of man wasn't easy to bully. He wasn't cute. He wasn't cute at all. Shen Kai retracted his leg and shook his head. His expression was filled with pain. I was sleeping in the car when the car was suddenly hit. Blood flowed out of my heart. It was so painful that my heart was twisting. Not to mention that I can't rest today. I probably won't be able to rest well for the next month. This bruise really stimulated my mental state. Xia Qian was stunned. She rubbed her face. Because cycling was a form of exercise, she didn't wear much. When it was hot, she even took off her sweater and wore only a long-sleeved t-shirt. At this time, the cold wind was like a knife cutting at her, causing her to shiver. You want me to compensate you for your mental state? If she guessed correctly, he would say that his mental state was damaged. Shen Kai adjusted the collar of his mid-length coat and gave Xia Qian a thumbs up. Xia Qian bared her teeth. Who could teach her how to discuss mental compensation with a man who was the head of the procuratorate? To show that his neck was long. Big collar. Would the head of the procuratorate have the nerve to wear such a cool style? If the head of the procuratorate had any integrity, he would be too embarrassed to drive a car like a Bentley, right? If she asked him to compensate, she would have to have a good discussion with him about social issues related to diligence and integrity. Who's afraid of who? Shen Kai noticed that Xia Qian looked at him from top to bottom and then at his car. After looking at it, her eyes rolled like a mouse. Miss Xia, this car isn't mine. It's my mother's. So, I think you need to pay for it. I'll let her know. Xia Qian felt as if she had been struck by lightning. What? Your mother's. Your mother is rich. How could someone who could ask such a stupid question not be Xia Qian? Shen Kai smiled in a very gentlemanly and self-deprecating manner. My mother is just a softie. My father gave her this car. In her heart, Xia Qian rolled her eyes that were begging for reconciliation. She glared at Shen Kai. She felt that this grandson was just pretending. He was obviously from a rich family. Why did he have to explain it like this? Was he afraid that others wouldn't know that his family was rich? However, Xia Qian's eyes were still begging for reconciliation. Even the smile on her face was like the sunlight without fog during the day. Mr. Shen, it's so late. Since you haven't rested yet, why don't we have supper together? I'll treat you. People equals money could be spent from Xia Qian's bag, and it was for a person she didn't like. There was only one reason, and that was that she wanted to save more money. Shen Kai reached out and touched his chin. His evil handsome eyebrows raised slightly. Yo, he said and looked at Xia Qian. She had already taken off her sweater from the front of the basket, not caring that there was a man standing in front of her. She began to put it on. Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 594. When she poked her head out of the sweater, it was still red and her hair was a little wet. It looked like her hair was not as thick as before. She adjusted her casual sweater with a drawstring and a hat. So, I'll treat you to supper. Anyway, he did not want to talk about the compensation. Xia Qian felt that she was pretty unlucky. Her second-hand car had crashed into Qin Fian's car, causing Yi Er's forehead to bleed and Jiang Zhao to almost tear her apart. However, she had bought this bicycle brand new and had ridden it for a few years. Today, she had crashed into Shen Kai's car again. Both times, she had crashed into luxury cars. That time, Qin Fian's car had escaped compensation because of Jiang Zhao's words. This time, she did not have any helpers by her side. What should she do? It looked like Shen Kai was not willing to accept a settlement. Shen Kai raised his devilishly handsome eyebrows again. He turned around and looked at the spot where the back door of the car had been hit. He frowned. This frown made Xia Qian extremely uneasy. Frown. Was he really going to ask his mother to come out and extort her? Although her sister was quite rich, she could not ask her to solve every problem. She was still dreaming of becoming an independent woman like her elder sister every day. Shen Kai laughed. You want to eat to pay off your debt? But I don't think it's worth it. Eating to pay off her debt. This was indeed Xia Qian's truest thought. Wasn't it just a meal in exchange for a scratch? Who didn't know that a piece of paint on a high-end car cost a white-collar worker a month or even a few months' salary? Moreover, she was not a white-collar worker. She was not even considered a gray-collar worker. Mr. Shen, look at you. What you're saying is so vulgar. Can't we talk about something more meaningful? For example, we can have a drink, make friends, and have a chat. Shen Kai could not help but laugh. But I don't like to talk about ordinary things. I like to talk about life with women. Do you? Shinkai said the word life ambiguously. Xia Qian, the idiot, did not understand the deeper meaning of the words life. Regardless of whether he was born from a dog or a pig, as long as he could repay his debt with food, it was all good. Of course I know how to chat. I also especially like to chat about life. I feel that it is especially meaningful to chat about life. Young people nowadays are impetuous and impatient. How many of them understand the true meaning of life? One look and I can tell that Mr. Shin is a particularly profound person. Even his conversation is so profound. Shinkai looked at Xia Qian's serious expression as she agreed to talk about this kind of life with him. He felt that it was too interesting. High City's Media College was known as the biggest college for mistresses. There was actually a girl like Xia Qian. I want to eat something good, Shinkai said. Sure, but let's make things clear. Today's my treat. Don't act like you're going to fight to pay the bill. Xia Qian touched her trouser pocket. There were more than 70 yuan inside. She had originally planned to go back to the supermarket to buy some detergent, toothpaste, and soap, but it seemed that she was going to be extorted today. She looked at Shinkai and said very generously, "Let's go to Cheonglu. It's on the same level as Haiyu. There are too many colleagues in Haiyu. If I take you there for a meal, they will say behind my back that I'm flirting with handsome guys again. It won't be good." Shinkai chuckled. Sure, leave your lousy car aside. Let's go to Cheonglu. Xia Qian sat in the Bentley and patted the cushion on the table. She said to Shinkai, who was driving, "Mr. Shin, your mother has such good taste and good taste. The seats in this car are really comfortable. It's very suitable for a woman of your mother's age. When a woman has back pain for a few days, she won't have menstrual cramps anymore." Xia Qian originally wanted to say something good about the owner of the Bentley. If he did not lose money, he would have a higher chance of winning. Who knew that this flattery would hit the nail on the head? The model, color, and configuration of this car were all chosen by Shinkai himself. The corner of Shinkai's mouth twitched. Xia Qian said that this car was suitable for his mother's taste and taste. Was she trying to say that he was a friend of women? Yi Er felt the back of her head hurt more and more. It was a pain in the flesh, not a headache. Jiang Zhao knew that it must be because the anesthetic had not worn off. Now, it was great. The two of them had just showered and were about to go to bed when her head started to hurt again. He didn't even know if she had strained her scalp when she was excited just now. Was the thread pulled open? Her eyes were filled with tears from the headache. He also had a headache. It was really too torturous. He was too embarrassed to go to the nurse. If the wound was pulled open and they asked about it, he couldn't possibly say that he had just had a fierce battle and then pulled open the wound, right? He couldn't say it out loud. It was better for him to take a look first. Let me take a look. Jiang Zhao sat up and turned Yi Er over. He then brushed her hair aside and gently pulled open the gauze at the back of her head. It's not torn. It's fine. The anesthetic has probably worn off. Do you want another shot of anesthetic? It won't hurt anymore after that. Jiang Zhao, are you uncultured? Even I know that hero Lu Buqing didn't use anesthetic during his surgery because he was afraid that he would become stupid in the future. Why don't you know about it? Or are you just looking at me like I'm stupid? Yi Er finally bit back at Jiang Zhao. It was really good to be uncultured. Jiang Zhao couldn't be bothered to argue with Yi Er. He was clearly afraid that she would be in pain. If she wanted to be a hero, then let her be. He lay down, hugged his wife, and had a good sleep, at that moment, in the southern home. In Zhou Li's apartment, Yuan Shichang was furious. He threw out the wall lamp and smashed 2 light bulbs. The thin glass shards splashed all over the room. Jolie sat on the sofa without saying a word. She slowly brushed her bright nail polish on her fingers. Yuan Shichang, have you had enough? Yuan Shichang was very angry at this moment. Looking at the woman's carefree expression, he couldn't help but get angry. Tell me, when will you bring Si Jia back? Si Jia is also my child. I'm willing to let Yi Er raise him. No matter how Yuan Shichang forced her, she wouldn't ask Yi Er for Si Jia. Now, everyone didn't like her. She wasn't a fool. Anyway, she pursued freedom. She would be happy if she didn't care about her child's happiness. She was still young. At her age, it didn't matter if she had another child. What was so difficult for a woman like her to have a child? Yours. Si Jia is mine. Yuan Shichang couldn't wait to pick up a stool in the room and throw it at this woman. I'll tell you, Jolie. I'll tell you. Yuan Shichang was very agitated. His words were short and heavy. He kept repeating them over and over again, as if he had made some kind of decision. Jolie, I'll tell you. If you don't want to use the most peaceful method to get Si Jia back, I'll let the whole Haiqing know that Si Jia is my son. If your lowly daughter and filthy ex-husband are angered to death by you, I don't care. When he saw Jolie looking at him in shock, he suddenly felt a sense of coldness. He sneered and added, as long as I ask for a DNA test, I don't believe that you'll be able to live as comfortably as you are now. This was something that Yuan Shichang could only say when he was forced into a corner. He had promised Jolie before that he could have a child, but he couldn't reveal Si Jia's blood relationship. Everyone had to be human. Not only would it be bad for the adults, but it would also be bad for the child. However, she had forced him to do this. He had waited for so long, but she was lazy and didn't have any results at all. She was simply a character who would move whenever he poked her. If he didn't urge her, she would just shop and eat. If he urged her, she would say a few words. As long as the other party was a little tougher, she would immediately come back and say that she would never go again. Don't you dare. Jolie threw the nail polish on the coffee table in front of her and stood up. The small round bottle rolled and rolled onto the large square carpet under the coffee table. The red sticky liquid slowly flowed out from the bottle and bloomed on the beige wool carpet like a poppy flower. Although the nail polish had been spiced, there were still some slight stings. The pungent smell filled the room. Yuan Shichang, you're going back on your words. I'm going back on my words. Take a look at what you've done. I said that I want a son. How long have I given you? You're the one who's worn out my patience. I'm not in the mood to make do with you now. If you want to get lost, then get lost. Whoever wants to raise you can raise you. I only want my son. Otherwise, I'll let your daughter die again. Yuan Shichang roared until his throat was smoking. Jolie rushed in front of Yuan Shichang and raised her hand to give him a slap. Just as she raised her hand, Yuan Shichang caught her and threw her forcefully. Jolie was thrown off balance by this forceful throw. She flipped upside down and fell onto the sofa. Bouncing twice, the bun that she had tied up loosened and scattered. Yuan Shichang, you've gone too far. How dare you push me? Jolie was shocked that Yuan Shichang actually hit her. Whether it was Yun Hongwei or Yuan Shichang, these two cousins of the same generation had never hit her before. Today, not only did they throw things at her place, they even pushed her so forcefully. Not only was she shocked, but she also felt humiliated that her arrogant and willful personality had been trampled on. However, she suddenly recalled what he had said just now and quivered. Say, do you think that Yi Er's accident has something to do with you? You think that she's a hindrance to you? Without her, Yun Hongwei wouldn't have been able to raise Si Jia. Last time, you even asked me to go to the hospital to help her so that she wouldn't give Si Jia to me. Tell me, did you do it? Jolie had always been a woman who only cared about herself. She would live as comfortably as she wanted. Whether it was her feelings or her responsibilities, they couldn't restrain her. She liked to live a carefree life. She always felt that Yuan Shichang loved her and she loved him too. Therefore, she didn't feel guilty about betraying her responsibilities and being together with Yuan Shichang, who had no status or status. However, the children were her flesh and blood. Even if she didn't care much about them, she still had feelings for them. Yi Er was her first child. She didn't love Yun Hongwei. When she was pregnant with Yi Er, she wasn't happy either. She was also unwilling to give birth to him. When Yi Er was born, he didn't have the figure that he had now. He was so skinny that his skin was wrinkled. Because of the yellow fever, he was yellow and dark. He was so ugly that she didn't like him even more. After he was born, she didn't want to look at him at all. However, Yun Hongwei treated him like a treasure. She naturally knew Yun Hongwei's feelings for her. Anyone could understand that he loved her. Before she gave birth to the child, he already said that he didn't care whether the child was a boy or a girl. However, Yun Hongwei had this kind of ability. He raised an ugly child to become more beautiful. When he carried her out for the banquet, she was fair and tender. When she occasionally opened her eyes, her pupils were so bright that they looked like they were painted black. It was said that young children couldn't see things clearly because their eyes were misty. However, Yi Er already knew how to laugh when someone teased her. As Yi Er became more and more beautiful, she liked him more and more. Thinking about it, she felt a little comforted. Even though Yi Er's birth was too unexpected, they were still fated to be mother and daughter. Even if she didn't live with Yi Er in the future and didn't rely on her for old age, she still hoped that she would live a peaceful life. She definitely didn't want her to be kidnapped and meet with bad luck. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 595. And this bad luck was brought about by the man she had loved for so many years. It was one thing for Yuan Shichang to speak ill of Yun Hongwei and Yi Er and express his strong dislike for them, but she thought that he was jealous. But how could he be so ruthless to Yi Er? The living room was already in a mess because of Yuan Shichang's bad temper. Now that the woman had been pushed down, he looked like a domestic abuser. When he saw Zhou Li's red eyes questioning him, he sighed heavily and rubbed his face. His rough voice still lingered, "Zhou Li, I've spoiled you too much. That's why you don't know what's important and what's not. You clearly know that Yun Hongwei and I don't see eye to eye. We've been fighting for our entire lives, yet you still want to raise my son in the Yun family." Si Jia has always thought he was Yun Hongwei's son. He was so young back then, and he had such a good relationship with Yi Er. If you got him out, wouldn't it leave a scar? Zhou Li had said these words more than 100 times. When Yi Er was still living in that residential area for more than 80 years, Yuan Shichang had asked for her custody many times. Yi Er refused. It was fine if she refused. She felt that Si Jia was living quite well. Yi Er did not mistreat Si Jia. She had hired a private investigator to follow Si Jia. He had grown taller and was doing well in his studies. Yi Er was very good at taking care of children. She did not need Yuan Shichang to take care of them. Who knew that after Yi Er was going to marry Jiang Zhao, Yuan Shichang could no longer sit still. When he was poor, he could not even get custody. Now that he had found such a powerful backer, what hope did he have? When Yuan Shichang heard Zhou Li say such words again, the flame of anger in his heart rose again. He bent down and picked up the fruit rack on the coffee table and smashed it. The fruit rack was made of stainless steel, and there were 4 or 5 kinds of fruits inside. They all fell to the ground with a dong 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 sound. His voice was like the object that had been smashed to the ground. It exploded into pieces. Every word and sentence was venting his negative emotions. "Zhou Li. For you, I couldn't even give birth to a son. You were the one who said that with Si Jia. I wasn't allowed to have a son with Zhou Yan. I wasn't allowed to have children with other women. It was all F***ing your fault. How old am I now? Ha! How old is he? I'll be 50 soon. But 2 years ago, my Jingzi survival rate was no longer able to get anyone pregnant. My chances of getting pregnant were 3 to 5%, but you kept telling me that you wanted to raise Si Jia and the Yun family. Let me tell you, Ma Shicheng, will never have a son in this lifetime. If Yunyi dares to continue dominating Si Jia, I'll let her die. The decoration of the Cheong Pavilion was more modern than that of the Haiyue Pavilion, and they served high-end Cantonese cuisine. Xia Qian's clothes cost about 100 yuan each, but when the 2 rows of Miss who were wearing welcoming dresses bowed to her and Shen Kai in unison and shouted, "Welcome," Xia Qian straightened her back and raised her eyebrows confidently. She felt that her clothes were worth at least 10,000 yuan. Shen Kai followed beside Xia Qian. Looking at her expression, he couldn't help but frown. This country bumpkin really hasn't seen the world. Xia Qian saw a seat by the window. It was right in the middle, and both the front and back were occupied. She raised her hand and pointed. "Mr. Shen, shall we sit over there? You're asking me to sit in the main hall." His job was in the inspection department, and it was related to the anti-corruption investigation. It was better to eat in a private room in a place like this. Xia Qian rubbed her head. Her voice wasn't soft, and the people around them could hear her. It didn't seem intentional. "Mr. Shen, you don't know, but private rooms in high-end places like this have a minimum cost. It's just supper for the 2 of us. It's a bit of a waste to have the minimum cost. Why don't we be frugal?" Mr. Shen didn't mind and smiled. He shrugged. "It's good to be frugal. Since it's your treat, you can do whatever you want." He didn't believe that they wouldn't spend at least a few thousand yuan if they casually ordered a few more dishes here. Xia Qian and Shen Kai walked to the window. The environment outside was very good, unlike other restaurants where sitting by the window was to look at the cars on the road and their exhaust fumes. Outside the glass wall was a flower garden, and there was even a children's play area. At this time, there weren't many people who brought children out to eat, so it was very quiet outside. The waiter gave each of them a menu. Xia Qian was very righteous. She said, "I'm treating Mr. Shen to dinner today. When you pay the bill later, don't give the bill to him, okay?" The waiter nodded and smiled politely. "Miss, don't worry. I'll remember. It's my treat. Let me do it." Mr. Shen is from the procuratorate and has always been honest. He definitely won't order properly when he's ordering. I really can't stand him. It's just a meal. The waiter smiled gently. Miss is right. Xia Qian was an indirect sex offender, but at this time, she wasn't stupid at all. She covered her face with the menu to hide her appearance in the waiter's eyes. She whispered to Shen Kai, "Are you happy that I said good things about you?" The corner of Shen Kai's mouth twitched. Yes, he was so honest that he drove a Bentley today. Xia Qian ordered. Do you have monkey brains with oil?" The waiter was stunned. "What?" "It's a live monkey. You take the top off its skull and pour oil out directly. I heard that it's very nutritious." The waiter glanced at Shen Kai. Shen Kai's face darkened. The waiter quickly shook his head. Not to mention that there was no such thing. Even if there was, it was impossible to order such a thing when the head of the procuratorate was sitting in the hall. The waiter wiped his sweat. "Miss, we don't have it here. Let's order something else." "Braised giant salamander," Xia Qian said casually. "Giant salamander." The waiter was stunned again. "It's giant salamander," Xia Qian explained calmly. The waiter held the table. The country protected animals. Dear, even if you want to order something strange, can you enter the private room? You should have asked someone to test if the head of the procuratorate was here to cast a net. Besides, the investigation was so strict now. The restaurant didn't dare to do such things at all, for fear of being caught. Miss, I'm sorry. We don't have it. Why don't you have anything? How annoying. Yi patted the menu and was about to order 2 bowls of tomato egg noodles when Shinkai saw through her thoughts. He flipped open the menu in front of him. Miss, please order a serving of Buddha jumps over the wall, in abalone sauce, braised chicken wings, matsutake and winter melon balls. Xia Qian wanted to slip away when she saw the waiter recording the orders with a smile on his face. Shinkai glanced at Xia Qian, who was completely out of it, and said to the waiter, braised pork trotters. Xia Qian didn't want to eat. She couldn't eat this supper. If she ate it, she wouldn't be able to eat for the next month. She didn't want to lose weight. After the waiter left, Shinkai said to Xia Qian, braised pork trotters. I'll order it for you. Am I good? After meeting you a few times, I found a very serious problem. Your chest muscles are not developed enough. I heard that pork trotters are good. If you continue to eat, your chest muscles will be very developed after a month. Why don't you do an experiment? I'll see next month. Chest muscles. F***CK. See your head. The delicious dishes were served, and everyone's appetite was aroused. Some people ate heartily, while others couldn't swallow their food. Xia Qian said lazily, I want to go to the washroom. Shinkai nodded. Xia Qian stood up and was about to slip away from the door behind Shinkai. Shinkai pointed to the front. Go straight to the end, turn left, and go straight to the end. The washroom is the only place with no way out. Xia Qian sat down. I suddenly don't want to go to the washroom. Shinkai asked Xia Qian, don't you want to eat? I'm not hungry. Xia Qian was listless. She was not energetic, but she wasn't hungry. Her stomach was filled with anger. How was she going to escape today? You're really not hungry. Shinkai raised his eyebrows and chuckled. Xia Qian nodded. I'm really not hungry. If she didn't want to eat, could she not have to pay? She didn't have money now, but she had her life. Shinkai waved his hand. Bill, please. Xia Qian suddenly wanted to go to the washroom again. There was only $70 in her bag. But she was delighted to find that Shinkai took out a black wallet, opened it, and took out a card. He held it between his index and middle fingers and handed it to the waiter. I'll pay by card. The waiter wasn't surprised that Xia Qian wanted to pay the bill, and now Shinkai was paying the bill. Most of the people who came out were men. It seemed that these two weren't husband and wife. Xia Qian was suddenly very pleased with Shinkai. She admired how he took out his wallet and took out his credit card. She repeatedly asked herself in her heart, hey, why do you think this man looks so good when he takes out his wallet? Why does he look so dashing? Not bad. He was too overbearing. Xia Qian had unknowingly picked up her chopsticks and picked up a piece of matsutake and winter melon bowl. Wow, it tasted really good. This soup must have been made with chicken. The matsutake must be the freshest. This winter melon ball was waxy. It didn't rot and was even flavorful. Oh my god, this restaurant's culinary skills were really good. The winter melon had the taste of wild animals. It was even the taste of a second-class country's protected animal. It didn't lose out to those things at all. It was really worth it to be able to eat something like this at this price. It was very cost-effective. Shinkai looked at Xia Qian's intoxicated look as she ate with great interest. He had an impulse to hold his stomach. Just as Xia Qian was devouring all the delicacies on the table, the waiter came over with a card reader and asked Shen Kai to input the password. When Shen Kai entered the password, the waiter consciously looked in other directions to show that he didn't peek at the customer's financial security. The card reader made a mechanical sound and slowly spat out the receipt. The waiter tore it off and handed it to Shen Kai. Shen Kai took it and signed it. While watching Xia Qian eat, he said, "Eat slowly. I'm full. I won't snatch it from you." Xia Qian felt that a man like Shen Kai was an excellent man. He had a sharp tongue and a soft heart. At this time, he really cared about others. She couldn't help but blush. But when Xia Qian finished eating and wiped her mouth with a tissue, Shen Kai pushed the receipt in front of Xia Qian. "Luo, look at the amount. I just bought it. The amount of money for this meal should be paid by you, but I saw that you didn't bring your bag today, so I paid for it first. Do you want to pay me back in cash or directly transfer it to my card?" Xia Qian looked at the Industrial and Commercial Bank credit card receipt in front of her and had the urge to kick him. After years anesthesia, the pain lasted for a few hours. She didn't make much noise, but she would moan from time to time. Jiang Zhao couldn't sleep at all when she moaned. He asked the nurse, and the nurse said it was normal. He prescribed some sedative and hypnotic medicine, but she still moaned when she fell asleep. Even when Yi Er was asleep, Jiang Zhao would ask a few times, "Yun Yi, it hurts, doesn't it?" The woman ignored him for a long time before he went back to sleep. 6:00, it was still a little early. Jiang Zhao's alarm clock was set for 6:30, but Zhuang Yichen's phone kept ringing like a soul-snatching call. Once, twice. After ringing 3 times, Jiang Zhao finally picked up. If he had known, he would have turned off his phone. He didn't want to care about anyone's business. "Brother Zhao, are you awake?" "Not yet." "Get up. It's very important. I don't want you to fall behind. Hurry up. I'm at the parking lot of the hospital sister-in-law is staying at. Just wash up and come down. I'll wait for you in the car. Zone B, parking lot number 15. Zhuang Yichen hung up the phone after he finished speaking, so as not to disturb Jiang Zhao's washing up. When Jiang Zhao heard this, he knew that Zhuang Yichen rarely made jokes. Falling from grace. Was it that serious? If it was that serious, why didn't his family inform him? When he got out of bed, his movements were considered light. He went into the bathroom, brushed his teeth, washed his face, and shaved. When the electric razor moved under his chin, Jiang Zhao was a little lost in thought. He carefully recalled what had happened recently. Chen Tong. Chen Tong realized that the person behind Zhuang Yichen was him. So he made other moves. Zhuang Yichen wasn't such a careless person. Impossible. Zhuang Yichen. Because his secret dealings with Zhuang Yichen were finally discovered after all these years. Both he and Zhuang Yichen were very careful. It was impossible for peerless beauty to be in such a secretive place. Even if they occasionally greeted and chatted in public, it was still within the normal range. Impossible. About his 2 companies. The 2 companies were under his mother's name. Not to mention that his mother had always been a businesswoman, it wasn't strange for her to have 2 more companies. Even those with ordinary family backgrounds who later rose to higher positions would also use the government's resources to register their companies and earn money. As long as he didn't admit to his companies, no one could do anything about it. Other than his 2 employees, he didn't interact with anyone else. How could anything happen? Impossible. He cleaned up in a few moments, put on his shirt, sweater, and suit, and looked at his hair in the mirror on the wardrobe. He tidied it up and took his briefcase. He was just in time to go to work. He went out to find the nurse on duty and asked her to keep an eye on his wife's room. He had to go to work. After that, he pressed the elevator and went downstairs. He went to the parking lot in Zone B. When he saw number 15, he walked over. He opened the door of the back seat and got in. Zhuang Yichen didn't waste any time. He passed the newspaper in his hand to Jiang Zhao. Look at this. I came out early. I guess I'm one of the earliest people in this area to buy the newspaper. You have to think about what to do about this. Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 596. Jiang Zhao took the newspaper and glanced at Zhuang Yichen's side profile when he turned around. When he sat back, he was still looking at Zhuang Yichen. He should have read the newspaper immediately, but he knew the importance of the situation and needed to divert his attention to sort it out. He crossed his legs and leaned back. Then, he shook the newspaper in a seemingly leisurely manner and opened it. He held his breath. There were pictures and text. Yesterday, Ouyang Yan got into his car. In the end, it was his car that sent Ouyang Yan back to the condominium in the northern part of the city. Ouyang Yan stood outside his car door, as if waiting for him. There was no Yi air. The most important thing was that the two of them were childhood sweethearts. They went to the same school and later confirmed their relationship. After Ouyang Yan returned to Haiqing, he moved into his condominium in the northern part of the city. After getting married, he didn't move out. There was one time when he seemed to be drunk. It was Ouyang Yan who brought him to the condominium in the northern part of the city. There were pictures and incidents. Some of them seemed to be trivial, but the key words used were ambiguous and ambiguous. It made people's imagination run wild. For example, on a certain day, the two of them came out of a restaurant at the same time. A designated driver sent them back to the condominium in the northern part of the city. The two of them went upstairs together. Until the editor left, neither of them left first. What an accurate but immoral description. Until the editor left. When did the editor leave? Jiang Zhao was sure that the reporters who dared to publish news about a political figure like him had already resigned. He guessed that even the chief editor had to resign today. After all, his position was not as high as those bosses who started their own companies. If something that did not exist was blown out of proportion, he might be demoted or fired. This was clearly to destroy him. Who in Haiqing dared to go against the Jiang and Qin families in public? Do you have any reliable information? Jiang Zhao's voice didn't sound strange at all. He didn't raise his head and asked calmly, as if he was watching someone else's news. It was just that his eyes were lowered. The murderous aura that shot out from his pupils was hidden under his drooping dark eyelashes. There was almost no warning when this matter came out. Suddenly, there was thunder in the clear sky. Suddenly, the wind blew and the clouds gathered. The sky was thick black, as if a storm was about to happen. Not yet. I bought the newspaper by accident. Zhuang Yichen lied. Last night, he stayed at Xiaoye's place in Qingfeng Garden. Last night, Xiaoye's car had problems and couldn't start. So he sent her to work for the first time. After all, he had to go to two places and in different directions. So he had to go to Qingfeng Garden earlier. Xiao, she got out. Xiao, when she saw the newspaper, she got, and saw the newspaper and saw the newspaper saw. And she saw in the newspaper. He didn't discuss it with her. When she got out of the car, he asked her for the newspaper. After reading the newspaper, he decided to talk to Jiang Zhao face to face. It wasn't convenient to talk to Jiang Zhao with the driver. He asked the driver to take a taxi to the company. He and Jiang Zhao had been tied together for many years. Jiang Zhao's interests were almost inseparable from his. Once this mutually beneficial relationship was terminated because of Jiang Zhao's downfall, it would be difficult to find such a partner again. Most importantly, they had known each other since they were teenagers. No matter how they used each other, they trusted each other more than others. You're early today. It's rare. Looks like you slept well last night. Jiang Xiao smiled lightly. Zhuang Yichen also smiled. Jiang Xiao was still in the mood to tease him at a time like this. He couldn't even protect himself. How could he have the leisure to watch the storm? However, if he acted too impatient, it wouldn't be like Jiang Zhao. Except for the time when he was driven mad by Yun Yi, he was still the Jiang Zhao he knew. Yes, I'm so good to you. Old Master and Commander haven't called you yet, right? If he hadn't been so early today, if Xiaoye hadn't gotten out of the car to buy tea eggs from the newspaper stand, he wouldn't have known what had happened until he arrived at the company. If that was the case, the people who told Jiang Zhao this news should be the elders of the Jiang and Qin families. Ha! Jiang Zhao closed the newspaper and laughed. Indeed, you're the best to me. However, my grandfather is doing morning exercises at this time. When he's doing Tai Chi, who dares to disturb him? My dad might be resting today. I don't think anyone dares to disturb him. Let's wait until 7 o'clock. My phone will start to explode at 7 o'clock. At the end of his sentence, his smile faded. He lifted his wrist and rolled up his sleeves. It seemed like time was going to pass very quickly. In the blink of an eye, he might be bombarded with phone calls one after another. Jiang Zhao's suit wasn't as gorgeous as Zhuang Yichen's. Other than the superior tailoring and material, it was mostly plain and calm. Although both of their suits were mainly dark, Zhuang Yichen's small collar was made of glossy silk. Moreover, only half of the collar was made of glossy silk. This kind of asymmetrical appearance suddenly stood out from the dull and monotonous suit and appeared more fashionable. Jiang Zhao folded the newspaper in his hand and put it on the side. Then, he sat on the edge of the chair. This way, half of his butt was on the chair. He leaned forward and stretched out his long arm. He pulled Zhuang Yichen's small collar gently with a smile in his eyes. Oh, not bad. I realize that the suits you often wear are better than mine. When I'm not an official, I can wear a suit like yours. Ha! I guess it's Qiu Xiaoye's taste. Anyway, before Qiu Xiaoye appeared a few years ago, your style of dressing was similar to mine. Jiang Zhao casually mentioned Xiaoye again. Zhuang Yichen lowered his head and looked at his collar where Jiang Zhao was holding. If he continued to hold it, it would wrinkle. He pretended to slap Jiang Zhao's hand away. Jiang Zhao opened his hands and sat back in his usual seat. He crossed his legs, leaned back, and shook his toes. Zhuang Yichen couldn't help but laugh. Looks like I'm looking for trouble. You are not anxious at all, but I'm anxious. Jiang Zhao shrugged his shoulders and casually teased Zhuang Yichen. Is this what they mean by, the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is anxious to death? No, it's more like the eunuch is not anxious, but the emperor is anxious to death. Ha! Zhuang Yichen didn't want to admit that he was a eunuch. Jiang Zhao didn't take it to heart. You're putting the cart before the horse. You're ruining the story. Zhuang Yichen sighed. It looks like Jiang Zhao had some thoughts that he didn't understand and couldn't discuss for the time being. There was no point in continuing. Forget it then. If you're not anxious, I'll leave first. Get out of the car. I don't want to send you to work. My car uses a lot of gas. It's not worth it. Okay. Then I'll leave first. Jiang Zhao opened the car door. Zhuang Yichen stopped him. Brother Zhao, are you giving up on yourself, or are you trying to turn the tables on her? He was indeed worried that Jiang Zhao seemed to have too many things on his mind recently. If he really didn't care about anything and went with the flow, that wouldn't be good. Wait until I find out who's messing with me first. Jiang Zhao said plainly. However, he couldn't help but tighten his grip on the door handle. He really couldn't let his guard down after being set up by someone. I'm afraid that by the time you find out who's behind it, you'll already be dismissed. Zhuang Yichen was telling the truth. Recess is not the end of school. Recess is not a 2-day break. The 2-day break is not a summer vacation. Even if it's a summer vacation, it doesn't mean that you'll graduate. There's no end to learning. Jiang Zhao laughed again, but Zhuang Yichen could hear the coldness in Jiang Zhao's laughter. The two of them had worked together for many years. He felt that he understood Jiang Zhao very well. Jiang Zhao's methods were not as ruthless as his, but that was only because Jiang Zhao's position didn't allow him to. Otherwise, if Jiang Zhao wasn't restricted by the Red Sect and his political power, he would have killed and robbed. There was nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Don't tell me you don't want me to find out who's behind this. Jiang Zhao shook his head. If it were any other matter, I would definitely ask you to investigate. However, this matter is so widespread that it's written about my relationship with my childhood sweetheart. It's not only to embarrass me, it's also to embarrass the well-bred Ouyang Yan. Tell me, after 7 o'clock, when my grandfather and brother Lai Qing see this kind of newspaper, won't they investigate? They'll definitely investigate, and they'll investigate openly. They won't necessarily be slower than you. I just don't want to waste resources. However, as Jiang Zhao said this, he placed his hand on the door handle back on his knee. When he knocked lightly, his handsome eyebrows furrowed slightly. However, after this matter is investigated, it's not convenient for me to do anything at home. I'm afraid I'll have to trouble you again. Ta. Zhuang Yichen was waiting for this sentence. As long as Jiang Zhao said this, it meant that he could say 2 words. Benefits. Benefits. Jiang Zhao laughed as freely as Zhuang Yichen. The benefits are that if I'm still in this position, I can still go to a higher position, and you'll have more benefits. But the downside. Jiang Zhao paused slightly, and his eyes flashed slyly like a fox. The downside is that if I step down from this position and can no longer sit in this position, Chen Tong won't be able to help you with Zhuang Yifeng's matter. Even if he's on the same side as you, it's impossible because I have the Qin family and the Jiang family behind me, and he's only Chen Tong. And all the hard work you've put in this area will be in vain. Zhuang Yichen took a deep breath, but he didn't show any disappointment. He had been talking to Jiang Zhao, who was sitting on the left side of the back seat. At this time, he sat up straight and looked ahead. Looks like it's a big benefit. At this time, Jiang Zhao's phone rang sharply. He glanced at the caller ID and said to Zhuang Yichen, "Contact me if there's anything." Welfare, Xinwu 799. Chapter 597. After getting out of the car, he picked up the phone. Hello, Dad. You little bastard. Jiang Liqing's voice went through the phone like a detonator exploding. Jiang Zhao walked to his parking space with his briefcase in one hand and took the phone away from his ear. When he heard no more shouting, he took it back. You are really a bastard. In the Jiang family, the words little bastard, and wolf were the pet words of the elders. They had the privilege to talk back. No matter what kind of bastard he is still your bastard. That was a big deal. Even if he was in his 20s, he might slap the back of his neck. Dad, what do you think we should do? When the atmosphere was relaxed, Jiang Zhao called Jiang Liqing, brother Liqing. In fact, Jiang Zhao's EQ was higher than his younger brother in this aspect. At least on the surface, he didn't look as rebellious as Jiang Feng. However, when he wanted to achieve his goal, it was often easier. He called Jiang Liqing Dad at this time. Firstly, it meant that the situation was serious. Secondly, he threw the initiative to Jiang Liqing. It seemed that he was at his disposal, but in fact, he was seeking Jiang Liqing's protection. Jiang Zhao always admitted that he didn't get to where he was today at such a young age by himself. It wasn't because of his talent and intelligence. He wouldn't be arrogant to that extent. So, he told Zhuang Yichen that he had the Qin family and the Jiang family behind him. This was not the attitude of the third generation of a rich family, but a realistic analysis of his own advantages. What should we do? You can do this kind of thing, and you are telling me what to do. You bastard. Jiang Liqing had to scold him in every sentence to vent his anger. He couldn't figure out how he could have such a son. Before he got married, he often appeared in the headlines with some female stars, but it was also something that didn't have an end. Even if it had an end, so what? He was a businessman. How could Jiang Zhao be the same? Jiang Zhao was a politician, and what he was most afraid of was not going down the wrong path. Now, not only was his reputation tarnished, even his family Ouyang's daughter could not go out to meet people. In a place like the army, there were indeed many sons of people of his age who did not live up to expectations. However, he was different. Although Jiang Feng was a little rebellious when he was young, he did not cause any big trouble. At most, he loved to play. Now, his career abroad was doing well and he would be back soon. He felt that it was honorable to talk about it. Needless to say, Jiang Zhao had been developing very well. No one would jump out and say that he was not up to par. When it was necessary to be tough, he would be tough. In politics, many people wanted to catch this son of his who had risen quickly, but no one could do so. Everyone said that Jiang Zhao was a strict person who followed the law. Not to mention a persimmon chief, even a section chief had many mistresses and prostitutes. People in the circle would also talk about it. But who had ever talked about Jiang Zhao's scandal? Even if you wanted to, you could not find it. He had always been very gratified. Now, the good reputation he had built for so many years was all ruined. And they had only been married for a few months. Dad, I'll let you scold me for 3 more minutes. Let's talk about business. Jiang Zhao did not change his tone. He sighed and walked to his car. He took out the key, pressed the lock, sat in the car, pulled the door, started the car, and warmed it up. Jiang Liqing's voice became louder. You bastard, you are still in the right. Jiang Zhao imagined that his father must have made the call in the office next to the conference room in the army. There were some voices just now. Probably someone had shown him the newspaper. He suddenly felt ashamed. At this time, his back must be straight and his head raised. He must be so angry that his face turned red. He held the phone and scolded with one hand and supported his waist with the other hand to increase his momentum. Thinking of his father's look, Jiang Zhao suddenly smiled. Jiang Zhao had 3 minutes to scold him. Jiang Zhao did not speak. He just looked at his watch. Listening to Jiang Liqing scolding and roaring, he began to sort out the lines in his mind. These bastards from the Jiang family. None of them are easy to deal with. I think only Jiang Ji is easy to deal with, unlike you. You have been bad since you were young. Jiang Liqing was always like this. He would always look forward. When you were young, you only knew how to gamble with your brother in school. One gambled, and the other went out. When you came home, you lied to your grandpa that your brother gave you extra lessons. The 2 of you shared the loot secretly, you bastard. You and Jiang Rui are both bastards. You have been up to no good since you were young. Jiang Rui was better than you in elementary school. What about you? You especially changed the marks. Except for the final marks, when did you not change them? You even changed the marks of the homework for the usual tests. You even dared to imitate my signature to hand in the homework. You even dared to imitate my signature to write excellent. Tell me, what good things have you done since you were young? Jiang Zhao sighed softly. He was suffering from Alzheimer's. He couldn't forget these things even if he wanted to, because his father would always bring up the things that happened when he was young. Whenever there was a competition, it was a must to bring up the past. Think about it yourself. Have you ever made others worry since you were young? When you were young, you climbed the wall of someone else's house with your brother to steal peaches. You even brought your brother to steal peaches. Also, after you came to Haiching, your grades were good. You suddenly became a god from the god of plague in elementary school. When you were great, you started to let others copy your homework. When they copied yours, you still wanted to collect money. You even helped others cheat to make money. If these things were spread out, they would say that I, Jiang Liqing, did not give you pocket money. You have been embarrassing me since you were young. Jiang Zhao did not refute. How could he not feel embarrassed? The Jiang family was considered a big rich family. There were 4 brothers in the family. Which one of them had enough pocket money when they were young? If it was enough, would Big Brother have gambled? Would he have extorted money from Big Brother? Would he sell his homework? Would he sell his answers? They also said that one could be strong without desires. He did not know what those guys were thinking. Fian had blamed him many times and said, "Brother, since you came to Haiching, Grandpa started to cut off my pocket money. He said that he wanted to learn from you and not be allowed to be a playboy. It's all your fault. My pocket is now empty." He clearly had no choice, but in the end, he became the main culprit. Jiang Zhao listened to Jiang Liqing's accusations and raised his wrist to look at the time. It was as if he was listening to a radio broadcast. He felt that to be able to hear his father say these things at this time was more interesting than a talk show. Oh, so he was so wicked when he was young. But how did he suddenly become a gentleman dressed like a beast? The phone suddenly went silent. Jiang Zhao waited for a while. Jiang Liqing still did not speak, so he laughed and asked, "Dad, it hasn't even been 3 minutes and you're already done talking about my great achievements." Jiang Liqing's throat was smoking from anger. "Bastard! Can't I even drink some water? Slow down, I'll wait for you." Jiang Zhao waited for Jiang Liqing to lose his temper. He was used to it and knew that he could not talk back or argue with his father when he was angry. He could only go along with him and let it go after this. Jiang Liqing also looked at his watch. It had not been 3 minutes, so he was not in the mood to continue scolding. He picked up the tea that the guard had made for him and took a sip. Instantly, his throat felt better. "Jiang Zhao, tell me, is it because you can't let go of that family Ouyang girl? Dad, do you believe me? You're my son. If I don't believe you, who should I believe? Dad, let me tell you, other than the things that happened between me and Yun in the past, the rest are all nonsense." "What do you think?" "Nonsense." Jiang Liqing straightened his back and slammed the teacup in his hand on the desk. With a bang, the guard outside the door thought that something had been smashed and was very worried. He did not dare to enter the office and could only wait for orders. "Mother ***, who dares to write gossip about my son?" Jiang Liqing joined the army early. At that time, the people who joined the army were generally not as cultured as the current ones. Moreover, the soldiers were actually quite loyal. They were no different from those in the underworld. They were nothing more than people who killed people for their belongings and trampled on them for their belongings. After Jiang Liqing married Qin Zhen, who was a well-bred lady, did not like vulgar men. She did not like Jiang Liqing swearing. At that time, Jiang Liqing had a sweetheart and did not care about Qin Zhen's feelings. He said whatever he wanted. Later, after they divorced, he did not say anything. If Jiang Liqing even cursed out "mother ***, it meant that his internal organs were on fire. "Dad, it's really nonsense. There's nothing I don't dare to admit. After I married Yunyi, I never thought of having another woman outside. You've been through it, right? Even if we had a relationship in the past, after marriage, the wife is the wife, and the ex is the ex. As men of the Jiang family, how can we mess around with this kind of thing? Jiang Zhao easily dragged Jiang Liqing into the water. He knew very well about his parents' past. When his parents got married, it was more or less arranged. Jiang Liqing said, "Don't compare it to my matter. At that time, I was in a different era from you. How advanced is the information technology now? How isolated were we back then? At that time, things like this would at most be solved by sitting together at home. Is it possible now? I only found out when the newspapers were out." Dad. Jiang Zhao felt that he would rather listen to Jiang Liqing scold people. He did not know if it was because his family background was too good that he was so fearlessly stalling for time. "You can investigate this matter slowly. Or should I investigate it myself? You want me to clean up your mess? Then I'll have a meeting in the morning and start investigating in the afternoon." "Bastard. You still have the face to go to a meeting?" "I'll investigate it." Jiang Zhao smiled. "Thank you for your hard work, brother Liqing. You impudent bastard. Just you wait. When we get home tonight, I'll break your legs. Artificial limbs are too expensive. Even if you're rich, you shouldn't waste it like this." Jiang Zhao was still fooling around recklessly. "I'm so angry. I'm hanging up." As soon as Jiang Zhao hung up, Ouyang Yan called, Beauty Novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 598. Jiang Zhao looked at the Ouyang Yan's call. He really wasn't in the mood to drive, so he simply leaned against the pillow to rest. He picked up the call. "Hello." Ouyang Yan heard the slight distance in Jiang Zhao's voice. She waited for a moment, but Jiang Zhao didn't call her Yun Yun. "Second brother, did you see the newspaper? What should we do?" Ouyang Yan's gentle voice sounded a little probing and aggrieved. To the ears of others, it sounded like she was compromising and weak. And Jiang Zhao knew whether Ouyang Yan was weak or not. If she was gentle, she looked really gentle. If she was stubborn, she was really stubborn. "Yun Yun, come out and explain yourself. After that, I hope you can move out of the northern part of the city." Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed, so his expression couldn't be seen clearly. His voice was lazy, as though he was extremely tired. His tone couldn't be deciphered, but he said clearly, "Move out." When Ouyang Yan called him, he suddenly thought of a problem. Previously, he was worried about how much this matter would affect his future, and who was the mastermind behind this matter. If the family's power couldn't suppress this matter, how much damage would it cause to him and the family in the future? But now, he was worried about how much this matter would affect his family. How much would it affect his and Yi Er's small family? The last time he got drunk, it was Yi Er who dragged him home from Ouyang Yan's place. When Yi Er lifted his blanket, he didn't even take off his clothes. Yi Er actually knew in his heart. Last night, when Yi Er was injured, he sent Yi Er back to the hospital. Yi Er also knew very well. Those things in the past really happened, and he couldn't deny it. But it was a little too complicated to write about his love history in such a sensational way. He didn't even feel that it was so soul-stirring. Why did it become such a tear-jerking love story when it was written by a reporter? What would Yi Er think when she saw these words? He was actually looking forward to seeing her reaction. He didn't know why, but even at a time like this, he still wanted to see her agitated reaction, criticism, and complaints. He actually hoped that it would be Yi Er who suggested that Ouyang Yan move out of the northern part of the city, but she never mentioned it. If she didn't care, why would she mind that his ex-girlfriend was living in his house? "What did you say?" Ouyang Yan exclaimed in surprise. "I said you should move out of the northern part of the city. If you really think it's close to work, I can get the security guard to help you find a place to rent. You don't have to live in my place. Actually, this matter. Yang Yan's voice was a little choked up. Are you regretting letting me live in the house? Was today's incident all because of me? Brother Air, can you speak with some conscience? I was the one who asked to borrow the house from you, but you were drunk that time. If I hadn't brought you to the northern part of the city to rest, what would have happened if someone else saw you like that? I was the one who asked you out yesterday, but it's your fault for not taking a picture of Yi Air. How can you blame it on me alone? Now that the matter is out, instead of thinking about how to solve it, you're blaming it on me alone. Is it fair for you to treat me like this? Jiang Zhao didn't refute. He didn't need to discuss what was fair and what was unfair with a woman who had been involved in psychological warfare with all sorts of suspects and criminals for a long time. Right now, he didn't have the intention to pursue who was in the right or wrong. He simply wanted to avoid as much trouble as possible. The person who is the most unfair in this matter is your sister-in-law. Have you ever thought about how she feels about what was written in the newspaper? She was just using you. She doesn't love you. How can she feel? If you don't believe me, ask her. Ask her if she feels anything. Yang Yan's hysteria made Jiang Zhao frown. However, his eyes were still closed. Occasionally, his eyelashes fluttered slightly to show his emotions. Yun, have you ever thought that you're really meddling too much? Since before we got married, you've been saying that she doesn't love me and that we're not suitable for each other. At that time, I said in front of so many people at home that whether she loves me or not is between me and her. Actually, you have no right to interfere. Jiang Zhao suddenly opened his eyes. When he looked ahead, his eyes narrowed slightly. Yun, what do you think is the best way to solve this matter? Yang Yan was silent for a while. She seemed to feel guilty. I haven't thought of it yet. Jiang Zhao slowly opened his eyes. The fog in the winter morning was thick and heavy. However, the weather seemed to be good today. They could already feel the golden sunlight passing through part of the fog, giving the sky above their heads a colorful halo. Yun, do as I say. Move out. Yang Yan took a deep breath. Okay, let me look for a house on my own. There's no need to ask the guards for help. They already know each other. I can ask them about it when the time comes. Jiang Zhao chuckled. The guards over there won't go so far as to ask about the residents' privacy. However, if you really mind, then forget it. It's settled then. We can talk about other things later. I'll contact you if there's any situation. The two of them said a few words and hung up the phone. Jiang Zhao felt that he had done everything he could, but Yang Yan felt that Jiang Zhao was heartless and heartless. Qing Su got out of bed, walked to the table by the window, and sat down. Min Hongxing took the thermos from the servant and opened it. The delicious aroma of the peanut porridge floated out. During her illness, Qing Su had to avoid a lot of food. Otherwise, she would like to eat the deep-fried dough sticks fried with alum. It was poisonous, but it was okay to eat a little. She could occasionally satisfy her cravings. The most important thing was that deep-fried dough sticks with alum were fluffy and fragrant. Ever since Qing Su fell ill, Min Hongxing wanted to do everything for her personally. When he thought of how badly she was injured that day, the criminal investigator said that the way she drove was suicidal. Suicide. At that moment, Min Hongxing's tears flowed out. He didn't know what else he couldn't satisfy for Qing Su. He didn't even have the heart to say a harsh word to her. He would give her whatever she wanted. He would even give her whatever she didn't want. In fact, he had treated this daughter better than he had his son. Suicide. He really couldn't understand why his daughter wanted to commit suicide. When he thought of the hard times she and her mother had gone through and what the criminal investigator said, his heart ached so much that he couldn't sleep well at night. He took care of her personally to make up for the years he owed them. Later, he thought about it carefully. His daughter still refused to change her surname. She would turn hostile at the mention of it. Perhaps it was because her feelings for her mother were too deep that she refused to abandon the surname Liu. Actually, he was too subjective. As her father, he had never been involved in his daughter's past. Her mother was the one who did all the hard work. How could she be willing to take his surname? Actually, it was good that her surname was Liu. It was really good. He didn't want to talk to her about changing her surname anymore. He packed the porridge and handed it to Qingsu. Then, as if he remembered something, he took it back and said, Daddy will blow it for you. It's too hot. When his son was young, he had also fed him, but this daughter, he had never taken care of her for even a day. Thinking of this, his heart felt a burst of sorrow. Qingsu had always treated Min Hongxing's care as air. She snatched the bowl from his hand and lowered her head to blow at it. I can't even do this. I might as well kill myself. Min Hongxing almost mistook her for Min Zikai and slapped her on the head, but just as he raised his hand, he paused. Spit, spit, spit. You're not allowed to say such inauspicious things again. After saying that, she tugged on Qingsu's ear and muttered, Duan Duan, Duan Duan, tug on the ear. It's not a big deal. Qingsu slapped Min Hongxing's hand away. You're so superstitious. Let me eat. Okay, you eat. I'll ask the nurse to get today's newspaper. It's Friday today. By the way, I'll ask the doctor if you can go out for a walk. Dad will take you out for a walk. Qingsu didn't say anything, so Min Hongxing did as he said. However, when he opened the newspaper and read it, he began to talk to himself in shock. The heavens have eyes. Jiang Zhao is done for this time. I don't know who he offended, but he's so unlucky to be with that girl from the family Ouyang so openly. Qingsu turned her head. What did you say? Jiang Zhao and that girl from the family Ouyang. Qingsu wasn't familiar with the socialites in High City. She didn't fit in with these people. She didn't want to mix in, and she didn't want to ask about it. Yeah, it's full of pictures and text. It's not a lie. Min Hongxing took the newspaper and showed it to Qingsu, who seemed to be very interested. Qingsu was fine when she didn't read it, but after reading line by line, she was a little angry. How can this be? Jiang Zhao and Sister Yi'er have only been married for a few months. How can he do such a shameless thing? Is Sister Yi'er dead? Last night? How long has it been since the patient woke up? She's already with the old Qing dynasty. I couldn't tell that Jiang Zhao was such a bad guy. I thought he was quite concerned about Sister Yi'er. You can't see through a man like Jiang Zhao. Don't be fooled by him. Dad isn't on the same page as him. Min Hongxing couldn't help but admit that he couldn't wait for Jiang Zhao to fall. Otherwise, if Jiang Zhao stood on the Yun family's side, things would be difficult in the future. After all, family Min had contributed to the Yun family's downfall. I don't care about those things. I have to go find Sister Yi'er. Qingsu rolled up the newspaper and stood up. Qingsu, you haven't finished eating. I'll eat when I come back. Qingsu left her room and went next door. It was still a little early. When she knocked on the door, Yi'er seemed to be still asleep and didn't respond to Qingsu. The hospital's doors were usually not locked unless there was a special reason. This was to make it easier for the nurses to come in and check at any time. Qingsu knocked twice. When no one responded, she pushed the door open and went in. As expected, Yi'er was still asleep. With Qingsu's personality, she couldn't hide anything. She didn't care whether Yi Er was sick or not. She shook her awake and directly placed the newspaper in front of her. "You're still sleeping. How can you still sleep? Your husband already cheated on you, and you're still sleeping like a pig." Yi Er was feeling uncomfortable from being pushed by Ching Su. She was too tired last night and took some medicine. She was fine after taking the medicine, but she was so tired that she wanted to sleep as soon as she lay down on the bed. When she thought of the bed leg, she felt like it was filled with lead. She didn't want to wake up. Ad Shinwu 799. Chapter 599. She had been responding to Ching Su in a daze, but what did she say? Her husband cheated on her. Yi Er suddenly sat up from the bed. As soon as she sat up, she felt dizzy. She knew that she shouldn't sit up immediately after waking up, otherwise, there would be insufficient blood supply to the brain and cause dizziness. But this time, she couldn't control it. She was so dizzy that she wanted to immediately lie down and rub her head, but she grabbed the newspaper in Ching Su's hand. The newspaper made a cha-cha-cha sound. Yi Er was looking for it anxiously. Ching Su reached out to flip it for her. "Luo, take a look. Take a look for yourself." Ching Su was a gangster when she was young. She was occasionally polite, but that was because she felt that she liked the person. She would give the person some benefits appropriately. As they got closer, she would throw away the fake politeness she learned from the rich. At this time, she was scolding Yi Er as if she was educating a child who expected better from her. "Look at yourself. What kind of person did you marry? He is still an official. If he was a businessman, wouldn't he be creating gossip every day? I say, you're really too much. You just let him do whatever he wants. You've only been married for a few months. If it were me, I would cripple him." Ching Su was still young and didn't understand love. She didn't understand Yi Er's sour and sharp pain at this time. It wasn't because the reporter described Jiang Zhao's betrayal, but because she remembered clearly the last time she called Jiang Zhao. Ouyang Yen answered the phone. When she found Jiang Zhao, he smelled of alcohol and didn't even take off his clothes. Yesterday, she was injured. The first thing she did when she woke up was to ask him the time. She was afraid that he and Ouyang Yen had been together. If it was only these 2 times, she felt that the reporter was exaggerating. But when she saw the story of his and Ouyang Yan's past, Yi Er couldn't help but cry as she read. A pair of young lovers who had been together since they were 15 or 16 years old. They didn't leave each other all the way through junior high school, and university. Many young men and women who yearned for love were blocked out by their persistence. Childhood sweethearts were scourges, and the scourge was rooted in Ocean University. This pair of childhood sweethearts in other people's mouths didn't need to swear an oath of undying love. In the years since Ouyang Yen left, no other woman had appeared by Jiang Zhao's side. And her Yunyi had become an unexpected accident. The reporter said that the secret behind this was really unknown. But Yi Er knows. How did she end up marrying Jiang Zhao? She snatched Ouyang Yan's opportunity and forced him into the teeth of the storm. When she did that, she had already made up her mind. Unless Jiang Zhao wanted to kill her or ruin her reputation, he could only marry her. Jiang Zhao was not as ruthless as she had expected. She was very glad that a night as husband and wife meant endless devotion for the rest of their lives. But in the face of Jiang Zhao's feelings for Ouyang Yen, Yi Er fell back and clutched the newspaper tightly. Silent tears fell like rain. The more she thought about the content of the newspaper, the more she felt that her future was hopeless. She couldn't see it at all. She was thinking about how long she could hold on. Everyone had a limit. No one was willing to tolerate their husband having another woman outside. But she could bear it. She had to bear it because she couldn't afford to lose this marriage and lose him. She tried her best to kill time for him. She tried everything to make him spend more time with her. In the past, when she took care of Si Jia, she learned to cook a lot of dishes in order to let Si Jia eat more. After they got married, she learned even more. She told him every day what was delicious that night and how unique the cooking was. She hoped that he would come home for dinner. He came as scheduled. She had hope in her heart. But some people said that the one thing a man could never forget was his first love. And the roots of Ouyang Yan's first love were so deep. Even she, an outsider, couldn't help but weep when she saw them go through hardships together. Let alone this pair of people from the Qing dynasty. She had always been unwilling to ask about their past. Even if Tsing Tingting took the initiative to tell her, she wasn't willing to listen or remember. If she didn't know, she wouldn't care. Yi Er held her forehead and looked at the ceiling. But she was Mrs. Jiang. Ouyang Yan was now a mistress. But what if this matter pushed them too far? What if they admitted it? What should she do? No. She definitely couldn't give them such a chance. A day as husband and wife, 100 days of grace. How many days had she been husband and wife with Jiang Zhao? She couldn't count the number of days of grace in the remaining days. Why should she let them be like this? Jiang Zhao was hers. Qing Su couldn't understand her forbearance and pain. But Qing Su hated men who had a foot in two boats. One side was warm and fragrant, and the other side was in the arms of a beauty. What kind of happiness was this? He was simply a beast. Yi Er. She slowly calmed down and sat up on the bed. She took a tissue and wiped the water stains on her face. Lulu, how did you react when you saw the newspaper? Qing Su said, I'm furious. Where did you see the newspaper? My dad gave it to me. How did your dad react when he saw it? Qing Su thought for a while. My dad said that Jiang Zhao is done for this time. The premonition bomb that had been exploding in Yi's mind exploded with a bang. It exploded. That's right. Now, it was not about the love history between Ouyang Yan and Jiang Zhao. It was about Jiang Zhao being done for. The deputy mayor was not the deputy mayor. This kind of problem was fatal. Moreover, because Jiang Zhao was young and handsome, women looked at him like he was a celebrity. All these years, there were no scandals about him. He was simply the ideal marriage partner in the hearts of the women in High City. This had unknowingly formed the power of an idol. But now, this idol had a problem with his style. Yi Er picked up her phone from the bedside table and turned it on. She told Qing Su that she wanted to go back and rest first. Qing Su refused to leave. She promised that she would not make any sound when Yi Er was on the phone. She also promised to keep her secret. Yi Er always knew that Qing Su and family Min did not get along well. Moreover, Qing Su had saved her life before. So, she trusted her more than others. So, she let Qing Su sit on her bed. While waiting for the phone to turn on, she held her phone tightly. The pale color on her fingernails showed how difficult it was for her to do so. When the signal was full, she dialed Jiang Zhao's number. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er's incoming call. He sat up straight and picked it up. Hello, Yun Yi. Hubby. Yi Er was still like this. She tried to make her voice sound normal. You're not sleeping anymore. I saw the newspaper. Ah. Jiang Zhao's back suddenly straightened. He did not know why, but he was inexplicably excited. This abnormal excitement made him look forward to Yi Er's reaction. I saw it too. What do you plan to do? Me? Jiang Zhao was stunned. Shouldn't she be angry? Yi Er did not understand why Jiang Zhao was still like this. Wasn't he worried at all? Or could it be that this was an opportunity for him and Ouyang Yan? Ah Zhao, ah ha. I don't think this matter is good for you. No matter what, we should stand out together and explain this matter. Don't you think so? How do you want to explain it? Jiang Zhao smiled slightly. Yi Er was stumped by this question. How should she explain it? To be honest, she was the one who dragged him home from Ouyang Yan's bed at the apartment in the northern part of the city. They did not even have time to do anything before she dragged him home. Yesterday, she was injured because she wanted to ruin their plans. I think we should discuss this matter with Ouyang Yan. She has feelings for you. She wouldn't want to hurt you, right? As long as the three of us deny that what was written in the newspaper is false, it shouldn't cause any trouble. Don't you think so? You're still so young, yet your words sound so convincing. Then tell me, how should the three of us explain this? Jiang Zhao tempted Yi Er step by step, hoping to get some of the answers he wanted from her mouth. You can discuss it with Ouyang Yan. Ask her to say that there's nothing going on between you and her. After that, I will say that all of you are innocent. Okay. Yi Er actually did not have any experience in this area. She felt that as long as the three of them insisted on this matter, there would definitely be no problem. However, she was unable to persuade Ouyang Yan, so she could only rely on Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao sighed. Why do you want me to talk to her? The public will surely insist that the three of us had discussed this matter beforehand. Don't you think so? No matter how we explain, it will be a cover-up. The public will think we are treating them like idiots. Also, at this time, they will think that I am the deputy mayor, and she is working in the procuratorate. If both of us admit to our relationship, then there must be something wrong with our brains. Do you think there's any use in explaining to the public? What Jiang Zhao said was the truth. Moreover, if someone wanted to mess with him, even if this matter seemed to have calmed down, the mastermind behind the scenes would definitely stir up more waves and make this matter a laughingstock again. Moreover, this was not the only matter he had now. If Yi Er stood up, there would definitely be people who would slowly point the finger at Yi Er and Yun Hongwei. The medical parole period was too long. Yi Er felt uncomfortable when she heard Jiang Zhao's honest words. Explaining is a cover-up. What's wrong with him? He doesn't even want to explain himself. Does he really want to use this opportunity to divorce her? Yi Er got angry and hung up on Jiang Zhao. She shouldn't have called Jiang Zhao and made herself suffer. Thinking that it was really hard to calm down, she immediately called Xia Qian. After the call was connected, she sobbed with grievance. Qian, you must help me this time. Aren't you working in the media? Can you help me get in touch with someone useful? I want to hold a press conference. Xia Qian sounded like she was running. She was panting on the other end of the phone. You are such a good-for-nothing. My sister called me early in the morning to tell me about this. She asked me to look for you later so as not to disturb your rest. Wait for me. I will look for someone now. I don't believe that I can't teach this couple a lesson. Yi Er hung up the phone with Xia Qian and began to put on her clothes. Now, she felt more and more that it was important to have a few close friends. When she needed help, Xingling shamelessly helped her drug the government officials. When she wanted to snatch the custody of her younger brother, Xingling took out the share transfer agreement. No matter what the result was, although she didn't want those shares, Xingling really wanted to help her. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 600. Xia Qian and Xiaoye were very loyal to their friends. Even Qing Su would stand up for her the first time when her family was in trouble and speak up for her. Friends were an indispensable part of life. After today's incident, she was even more determined not to listen to Jiang Zhao. She must have her own friends, true friends. She wore a black and gray knee-length coat with a mature design and color. She wore a pair of dark-colored trousers and 3 pairs of shoes in the shoe cabinet. Jiang Zhao had asked someone to bring them over. She chose a pair of black high-heeled boots and put on some light makeup. She touched the gauze on the back of her head and let her hair down. She fixed the belt of her coat in front of the mirror and straightened her back. She told Qing Su to have a good rest. Qing Su was young and liked to play. Although she did not want to play with the children of rich families, she did not want to play with the people she cared about. Yi Er was unwilling. Qing Su had injured her lungs and internal organs. She was not like her. In the end, when the doctors and nurses did not allow Qing Su to leave the hospital, they stopped Qing Su from acting rashly. The news of the mayor's affair was very shocking. So, under Xiaoya's guidance, Xia Qian used, the mayor's wife will give a one-sided response to this morning's news, as a gimmick. They found many reporters from various TV stations and within 30 minutes, all of them arrived at the College of Communication. Xia Qian said that they could not find such a big place elsewhere, so they found the college's auditorium. Yi Er immediately kissed Xia Qian a few times over the phone. When they arrived at the hospital, they called for a taxi. Xia Qian snorted and said, "Our deputy director wanted to take advantage of me, but I actually ignored him the whole time. He was about to go bald, and his head was shiny as if it was smeared with lard. However, my sister told me to seduce him, but I couldn't let him get close. I had to act coquettishly from a distance and ask him to borrow the auditorium. At first, I didn't want to go, but my sister said that if I couldn't do it, then I was useless. If I let that man take advantage of me, then I shouldn't work in the media industry anymore." She said that it was because the circle was dirty. In fact, a good-looking woman would attract dirty things in any circle. If she couldn't even deal with men, her career wouldn't be able to continue. You have to reap the benefits and not let the men take advantage of you. Only then can you survive in this circle. Because in the future, when you interview someone, the other party might want to touch you. It all depends on your own alertness. That's why I went to CEO, our vice president. I also know that my future path will be more difficult. I have to adapt to it first. After saying this, Xia Qian smiled shyly, but this shyness was a little unnatural. After listening for a while, Yi Er felt that the main point of such a long speech wasn't the deputy director's baldness, nor was it the deputy director's desire to take advantage of Xia Qian, nor was it Xiaoya teaching Xia Qian how to deal with men. Suddenly, she slapped her thigh and said, "Xia Qian, you said a few hundred words in a roundabout way just to tell me that I'm beautiful, right? Yi Er, you just figured it out. Shouldn't you have figured it out a long time ago?" Xia Qian immediately laughed out loud. "What are you laughing at? I'm not in the mood to laugh with you. I'm hanging up. Wait for me over there." The gray fog was getting lighter, and the sunlight was getting brighter and brighter. It was so bright that everything around them was getting clearer. In a fit of anger, Yi Er had asked Xia Qian to help organize a press conference. Indeed, she didn't know the industry, and other than Xia Qian, no one else could do this. At this time, sitting in the taxi, the windows were tightly shut, and the air conditioner was on. If it was in the past, it would definitely make people sleepy. But now, she pressed down the window, allowing the cold air to rush in unscrupulously through the window and into her exposed pores. 20 years old. She was going to be 20 years old soon. But she was not a child. She told herself several times in her heart, "Yunyi, you are no longer a child. You have not been a child since you were 17 years old. You are an older sister, a father, and a mother. Now, you are even more so. You are already a wife, and you are not an ordinary wife. Your man is not an ordinary man. Don't be like a shrew. Although you are a down-and-out daughter, you must remember the taboos of decency. Don't forget everything in a fit of passion." The driver in the front seat couldn't see Yi Er's face clearly. He saw that she was wearing a hat and a scarf pulled up high, only revealing her eyes. He thought that she was a young lady who was afraid of the cold. But he couldn't say anything because the passenger seemed to be thinking about something. He silently turned off the air conditioner in the car. The cold wind blew in, and Yi Er breathed in the air through her nose. One moment, it felt fresh, and the next, it smelled bad. Yun Hongwei finally called. Yi Er knew that her family would know about this. It was only a matter of time. She picked up. Dad. Yi Er felt that she should at least pretend to be calm. Yi Er, even though Yun Hongwei was a man, after seeing that his daughter's marriage was not happy, he couldn't help but choke up. Just as he expected, his daughter was not happy. She had only been married for a short while, and her husband was already fooling around with the Qing dynasty. Not to mention Yi Er, even he felt depressed when he saw those things. Yi Er straightened her back and sat up straight. This way, her voice would sound more confident. Yi Er had a maturity that didn't match her age. Perhaps she was used to comforting her younger brother, but when it came to comforting her father, it was easy. Her gaze shifted to the front seat and glanced at the driver. Then she turned her head again and stared out the window. Dad, I'm outside right now, so it's not convenient for me to explain it to you. But I believe in him, so you have to believe in him too. We both know the ways of this industry. Can you be more rational? Yi Er, Dad is just sad. Why are you, Dad? It's all a misunderstanding. We will resolve this matter. Don't worry about it. Don't forget to pick up Sijia in the afternoon. Yun Hongwei didn't say anything else. He worriedly said, okay. Yi Er hung up the phone and turned it off. She didn't want to be questioned anymore. She was annoyed enough. She let out a long sigh. The car drove faster, and the wind hit her face hard. The white gas she exhaled disappeared instantly. Jiang Zhao frowned when he received a call from Zhuang Yichen. Yi Er had hung up on him and was feeling depressed. He sat in the car in a daze and didn't drive out of the parking lot. When Zhuang Yichen called, it interrupted his train of thought. He realized that he had really given up on himself for a short period of time. But it was only temporary. This psychological hint passed very quickly. Zhuang Yichen said, Brother Zhao, congratulations. Mrs. Jiang got Xia Qian to set up a press conference. It's going to be held in the auditorium of University City's Media College. She's already there. Jiang Zhao's eyes suddenly widened. Press conference. What's that? Yeah, I just found out that Xia Qian got her. Brother Zhao, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you shouldn't have schemed against me back then. You even wanted to use Xia Qian and Qiu Shaoye to suppress me. How could that be possible? Now you're the one who got yourself into trouble, aren't you? Mrs. Jiang has finally found an ally. When these women are together, they're not easy to deal with at all. Zhuang Yichen felt that there was a banquet tonight, so he had to get Qiu Shaoye to prepare a suit. Although she was the one who prepared the suit every time, he was still used to going there to try it on. He was used to watching her pick up the lapels one by one and compare them to his chest before saying, this color is not bad. The texture matches the material of the suit very well. In the end, he accidentally heard Xia Qian reporting the good news. He didn't want to listen in, but Qiu Shaoye sneaked into the inner office to answer the call. She was getting more and more daring. What phone call couldn't he listen in on? He knew everything about her family. Could it be Kang Yun? Did she think that just because she slept with him last night, she could have a foot in both camps today? He walked into her office openly and heard her say, that's how it should be. Good job. I wish you all the best. Be careful and look for me if you need anything. When she saw him enter, she immediately hung up. After a long interrogation on the table, she finally told him the truth. Jiang Zhao's head was about to explode. Why didn't she discuss it with him? What the hell was she up to? He quickly said, "Okay. I'll hang up first. I'll contact you later." After hanging up, he immediately called Yi Er. Unexpectedly, Yi Er's phone was turned off. Jiang Zhao rubbed his face. Yes, Zhuang Yichen said that she went to the auditorium of the College of Communication in University City. He started the car. The hypnosis from just now quickly passed. He was now very worried that Yi Er would mess everything up. He was very worried that she would hold a press conference for no reason and push their marriage to an irreversible cliff. He called Lu Cheng and gave him some instructions before driving to the University City. Boys of Yunwa's age rarely liked to read newspapers as much as he did. After the heart transplant, he would look for books to read whenever he had nothing to do. Whether it was newspapers or magazines, he would use them to pass the time. The footsteps on the treadmill in the gym were fast and steady. Nu was bare-chested and only wore a pair of underwear. Sweat flowed down his seductive figure and wet the waistband of his pants. The speed of the treadmill gradually slowed down as he stepped on the rubber track. He let out a long breath and got off the treadmill. He took a towel from the helper and wiped the sweat off his face before entering the bathroom. Eunwoo came out of the bathroom. Although his hair was still wet and dripping with water, he was obviously much more refreshed now. He wore white home clothes and looked indifferent as if he was untainted by the world. He left the gym and went to the dining room. Shi Jintian was not there yet. There was breakfast and newspapers on the dining table. This was Shi Jintian's habit. He liked to read the newspaper during breakfast, while Eunwoo liked to read it after breakfast. But today was an exception. The big black words and photos on the front page were too attractive. Just a slight glance was enough to attract his attention. He grabbed the newspaper and quickly opened it. He didn't know if he should be happy or unhappy at this moment. Jiang Zhao cared about someone else. If things got out of hand, wouldn't they be able to get a divorce? Deep down, he had always thought that Jiang Zhao had feelings for Yi Er. Otherwise, why would he care so much about his existence? When Yi Er was in trouble, Jiang Zhao was worried. He guarded her every day and didn't let him go to see her. He had always thought that Jiang Zhao was a strong opponent who blocked his path. But now, Jiang Zhao wanted to eat from the bowl while looking at the pot. Or was he just fighting for the sake of fighting? But how could a person like Jiang Zhao be so easily caught by others? If he wanted to keep a woman, did he need to keep her in his own apartment? And everyone knew that Jiang Zhao lived there. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 601. He took out his phone and dialed Yi Er's number. She said her phone was switched off. Did she see the newspapers? Nu stood up from his seat and quickly walked back to the villa. He went upstairs to his room, changed out of his home clothes, and put on his outdoor clothes. He draped his coat over his arm and got into the car. He started the car and drove towards the private hospital Yi Er was staying at. Yi Er arrived at the auditorium of the media college. Actually, Xia Qian only wanted to invite the reporters. But the front row of the auditorium was filled with reporters. The back and the second floor were filled with students who had heard about the news. It was crowded outside. The handsome mayor's influence was so high. Yi Er stood outside the auditorium and was shocked when she saw so many people. She suddenly felt nervous. She had never seen such a scene before. She wanted to escape. She did not expect there to be so many people. Weren't they all reporters? But can she escape? The invitation was sent under her name. If she did not go, what would happen to Xia Qian? If she admitted that she sent the invitation and did not go, she would be going back on her words. If she denied it, Xia Qian would become the target of public criticism. Luckily, she was wrapped tightly in her jacket. Other than thinking she was slightly taller, no one noticed her. She switched on her phone and called Xia Qian before she saw the incoming message. Qian, I'm here. Where are you? Xia Qian asked. I'm at the flower bed opposite the auditorium. There are too many people there. I'm afraid I can't hear you calling. Yi turned around and went to look for Xia Qian. Xia Qian's clothes were very white. In Xia Qian's words, a hardworking girl like her had to choose clothes that were dirty. Yi saw Xia Qian in a dirty black down jacket. She waved at her. Turn around. I'm at the fountain. Xia Qian turned around. Yi was waving at her from the fountain outside the auditorium. They hung up the phone. You're so fast. Have you thought of what to say? Xia Qian held onto Yi arm. Yi was wearing high heels today and was taller than her. Once again, she hated genetics. Why were there so many people who could mutate, but it was so difficult for her to mutate? I haven't decided yet. I'm a little scared to go. Yi stopped timidly and turned around to look at Xia Qian. Xia Qian thought to herself, you're not my boyfriend, so why should I look up to you? Damn it. Don't you know how to wear heels when you come looking for me today? Since he was so tall, why was he standing here instead of being an electric pole? Thinking about it was one thing, but he couldn't say it out loud. Idiots weren't stupid. What's wrong with you? You asked me to find someone to hold a press conference for you. Haven't you thought of what to say? Yunyi, are you trying to kill me? I haven't even graduated yet. How am I going to survive in this industry in the future? Let me tell you, if you let what happened today affect my future employment, you have to compensate me immediately. Otherwise, I won't let you off. How will it affect your future employment? Yi felt that she should relax a little and talk about something else. She didn't pull down the scarf around her face. She felt that the fabric around her mouth was a little damp after she spoke. Think about it. I'm from the School of Communication. Today, these people are all trying to pull strings with my classmates. Even the teachers and the head of the school are saying that Xia Qian dug up the news and that I'm going to be famous. But you're telling me, but now, they're saying that I don't dare to go. You want me to take my diploma and go to the television station to look for a job? Do you think they'll hire someone like me, who's so dumb, to be a news anchor? You know that you're dumb, but you still want to be a news anchor. You're asking for a beating. Xia Qian said fiercely. Although she said that, she knew that Yi was afraid. She had always thought of herself as an older sister. As an older sister, she had to be as capable as her older sister and be able to protect her younger sister. Yi, let me tell you, don't be afraid later. You just have to deal with that adulterous couple. You're the victim. If you get a divorce, you'll get a lot of money. When Xia Qian saw the newspaper, she was furious. How could Jiang Zhao not treat Yi as his wife? How was he going to continue living like this? The newspaper said that he and Ouyang Yan had a deep relationship. If Jiang Zhao got together with that despicable Ouyang Yan in the future and transferred their assets, Yi would be the one to lose out. Divorce was always a woman's loss. Not to mention the relationship, if she was labeled as a divorcee, it would be different for her to find a husband in the future. It didn't matter if men got divorced. This was no longer considered news in the media industry. So the best way was to get the money that she deserved. She was even consulting Yi with her lawyer. She was determined not to lose to that adulterous couple. Yi was taken aback. What? Divorce? No, she wasn't here to get a divorce. What did Xia Qian want? Did she want her to get a divorce because of this news? I don't want a divorce. I won't get a divorce. Qian, I'm not holding this press conference to get a divorce. I'm trying to save this marriage. Are you mistaken? Yi Er's eyes peeked out from under the scarf. Her voice wasn't loud because she was suppressing the urge to shout, but her eyes were slightly red. She had been red the entire time. She was nervous, guilty, and fearful. She wanted to fight for it, but she was afraid that Yang Yen would beat her back. This forced her to turn red. You don't want a divorce. You've seen them in this state and you still don't want a divorce. Yi Er, don't say that I look down on you. Jiang Zhao's family background is not bad, but you can't ruin your life for his family background. How old are you? You have a future ahead of you. What if he's sleeping in the same bed as you and running to another woman? What if you're old? What will you do? Qian, he didn't. I was there both times. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that someone is trying to mess with him. Really? Why would I lie to you? Xia Qian looked seriously into Yi Er's eyes. She wasn't good at reading people's minds. Most of the time, her reactions were a little slow and she would come up with some fallacious reasoning. That was why many of her classmates had signed internships, but she couldn't. After looking at Yi Er for a long time, she still couldn't understand what her eyes meant. She felt that this woman was so anxious that she was about to cry. Forget it. You're my friend. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, I'll support you no matter what you do. Xia Qian pulled Yi Er away from the crowd and went around to the back door. They entered the auditorium from the back door. Did you discuss this with Jiang Zhao before you held the press conference? No. She wasn't going to discuss it with him. He probably wanted this matter to blow up. She wanted to be the first to act and cut off these people's escape route. Xia Qian once again pulled Yi Er back. Oh my god, Yunyi, are you trying to play me to death? I'm done playing. I feel like my future is going to be ruined because of you. I don't care. I can't get a divorce anyway. Yi Er's scalp hardened. She tore off her scarf, wrapped it tightly around herself, and stuffed it into her big bag. She took out her phone, and her face appeared on the black screen. She used the screen to tidy her hair. She was supposed to tie her hair up today to look more energetic, but there was a bandage on the back of her head. She had to let her hair down and wear a hat to cover it. Xia Qian sighed. Yunyi, you can take my place in the future. I'm not as stupid as you. You're the stupidest woman. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Xia Qian. I'm already worthy of my ancestors by being a stupidest woman. I'm already worthy of you by not being crazy. Xia Qian was stunned. Okay. I won't talk about you anymore. Go. I'll protect you. She then patted her chest. Yi Er looked at her coldly. Stop it. If you take any more pictures, you'll lose all your A's. Xia Qian was about to curse when Yi Er turned around and walked towards the podium from backstage. The stairs were covered with an old red carpet. The texture was not good, and it was only used to prevent slipperiness. When one stepped on it, it felt as if they were not stepping on solid ground. One could hear someone checking the microphone, and the sound of tapping echoed. There were also sharp screams in the air. Lifting the dark red velvet curtain of the side door, the auditorium was as bright as the sky. Yi Er took a deep breath. The sound of the camera shutters was like a thunderstorm. In an instant, the camera flashes came crashing down on her like lightning. Yi Er knew that she had no way out. The front was flat and open, and the lights were brilliant. Although there was a red carpet behind her, there were stairs at every step. It was dark and dangerous. So, she had no choice but to move forward or retreat. Everyone yearned for a better life. A better life. Although there was pain, there was calculation, there was exploitation, and there was no other choice. But what he gave her was stability, happiness, warmth, and a complete family. Yi Er's mouth slowly widened. She knew that her expression, her gaze, and her actions were all criticized. So, she was Mrs. Jiang. She had to be able to make people speechless in front of everyone. She had an outstanding husband. Her husband was her role model. She thought about the scene when she chased the robbers into a dead end. He had descended like a god to save her and protect her. She had clung to him like a little Pekingese and begged him to take her back to the rundown neighborhood. He and she were enemies, but he was willing to let go of their former enmity and carry her upstairs because of the injury on her foot. She felt that he had always been kind, and she was the one who was too vicious. He had saved her from Zhuang Yichen and hid her in his apartment. He had saved her from the car that was about to hit her and sent her back. He did not want to have anything to do with her. She had repaid kindness with ingratitude. She had schemed, used, and snatched the position of Mrs. Jiang from the woman he loved deeply. In fact, other than not loving her, he had always been good to her. Not many women could live a stable life like her. Jiang Zhao had been very good to her, very good. Thinking about this, the corners of her mouth widened. Her eyes were filled with gentle and happy ripples. The camera shutters captured the beauty of the woman with the red curtains. It was as if she could feel the first ray of light at dawn. Yi Er stepped forward with a smile on her face. She walked gracefully to the podium in the middle of the rostrum. Listening to the chaotic sound of the camera shutters, Yi Er recited Jiang Zhao's name to calm herself down. Yi Er patted the microphone, and it rang twice. Yi Er adjusted her hat and tried to speak slowly so that she would appear more elegant and worthy of her husband, Jiang Zhao. She only spoke with her own unique sense of humor, not allowing herself to appear overly reserved. Hello, everyone. After a simple opening speech, Yi Er politely nodded to the audience. The sound of the camera shutters became more intense for a short while. Jiang Zhao held his phone and heard his wife's voice. Hello, everyone. I'm Yi Er, Jiang Zhao's wife. You can call me Mrs. Jiang. My friends from the media, please take prettier photos of me. However, digital cameras don't waste film. You can choose prettier photos and publish them to satisfy my vanity, which is a love for beauty. Yi Er's eyes flashed with a bright light. Her eyes curved with a teasing smile. Even the monotonous tone of her voice changed slightly. But tomorrow's headlines don't have Mrs. Jiang's vanity to the extreme. Then I'll remember the names of the reporters and editors in the newspaper. Then I'll find your children and ask them, darling, do your parents always lie to you? Welfare, Hongcha 866. Chapter 602. After Yi Er finished speaking, the audience burst into laughter. No one expected the deputy mayor's wife to be so humorous. She does not sound like someone from a political family. Someone asked impatiently. Madam Mayor, how do you want to respond to today's newspaper? The podium was a little high, so some people had to place a stool under it. However, Yi Er was tall, and she was wearing high heels. So even if she placed her hands on the table, she could still straighten her back. Looking at the reporter who asked the question, Yi Er nodded her head and smiled. This beautiful lady seems to be in a hurry to ask this question. Everything I'm saying right now is a response to your question. But my brain and logical thinking are not as good as my husband's, and my organization is not as clear as his. You can't ask me the same way you ask him. Although I don't expect you to tolerate my shortcomings like my husband, don't rush me, or my brain will short-circuit. Yi Er skillfully praised Jiang Zhao and used Jiang Zhao's love for her in her speech. She also used a humorous way to express it. The audience burst into laughter again. Also, I need to correct the beautiful Mrs. Mayor. The current mayor of Haiqing is Mayor Qin. My husband is only the deputy mayor. You should call me Mrs. Jiang. Jiang Yuning said. Yi Er's eyes brightened up when she heard the laughter from the audience. She continued, I am not here today to use my husband's title and the title of Madam to respond to today's newspaper. I am here as Jiang Zhao's wife. The person mentioned in this press conference is not a deputy mayor. He is only my husband. Yi did not dare to clench her hands together on the table to relieve her nervousness. She could only put her hands together in a seemingly relaxed manner, because she knew that other than the audience, there were also countless cameras on the surrounding 2 floors. Just as Yi paused and was about to catch her breath, another reporter asked, What's the matter? How will Mrs. Jiang respond to today's newspaper? Sigh. Yi smiled and sighed. This handsome guy seems to be very anxious. You can change your seat and sit next to that anxious beauty. Maybe you will have a lot to talk about. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The audience laughed. Yi touched her hat and did not answer the reporter's question. Actually, I shouldn't wear a hat on stage today. Last night, I came back from Qingbei apartment and caught a cold. The wind is strong today, and I am afraid I will catch a cold. Mrs. Jiang, did you say that you went to Ouyang Yan's house with the deputy mayor last night? A reporter grasped the main point and asked anxiously. I had said before. Don't mention the deputy mayor. Next time, please use this question. Mrs. Jiang, are you saying that you and Mr. Jiang Zhao went to Ouyang Yan's house last night? Or, Mrs. Jiang, are you saying that you and Mr. Ouyang Yan went to Ouyang Yan's house last night? I will answer these 2 questions. I will not answer other questions because this is my family's business. Behind closed doors, I only have Jiang Zhao in my house. There is no deputy mayor Jiang. I had said before that this is my personal behavior. Now, my husband and I are just ordinary people. Do you understand? Some of the reporters laughed and jeered when they heard the word, dear. Understood. Yi smiled and said, all right, then please ask your reporter friends who understand. Mrs. Jiang, are you saying that you and Jiang Zhao went to Ouyang Yan's house last night? A reporter asked Yi with a cheeky smile. Yi felt much better now that a very serious press conference had turned out like this. Otherwise, she would be dead meat if she continued to use a very serious method to deal with these reporters. Because the more serious and tense the atmosphere was, the clearer the minds of these reporters would be, and the more unreasonable they would be. Dear, you are so considerate. You can understand everything so quickly. Happy working with you. Let me answer. Yi's reporter laughed and sat down. This mayor's wife is too funny. Yi said, actually, when I saw this newspaper this morning, I was thinking of a problem. I have to criticize it. The editor who wrote this newspaper is really not dedicated enough. I want to emphasize this matter here. People who work in the news and media are most afraid of not being able to endure hardships. They don't even have the willpower to stay a little longer to look for news. It's better not to do it. Last night, the 3 of us alighted from the car together. After that, I hit my head, and my husband rushed to bring me back to the hospital. The last time, I was also the one who left the apartment with my husband. But the editor said that he had left, and no one left. I feel that if there is no end to the report, it means that the reporter is immoral. People who are immoral will not be able to work in the media industry. At this time, Xia Qian brought a laptop to the stage and passed a USB flash drive to Yi. This is the CCTV footage from last night. It only shows the 3 of you alighting from the car together. Show it to me. Yi smiled and nodded. With Xia Qian's help, he connected the projector and played a short video. Although the video was from a distance, the car and the 3 of them could be seen clearly. It matched the scene in the photo. After the video ended, the video stopped. All of you can see the timing of this video. So, I will not say anything about the newspaper's response. Anyone with eyes can see how unprofessional the editor is. Yi Er unplugged the USB flash drive and passed it to Xia Qian. Thank you. Xia Qian walked off the stage coolly. She did not seem to have any relationship with Yi Er. I have another reason for coming here today, and that is to apologize to Miss Ouyang. Actually, I usually call her Sister Yan in private, but to make the apology more official, I will call her that. Yi Er appeared to be very sincere. His sincerity was so genuine that it could be mistaken for the real thing. I have nothing to do with Jiang Zhao. Our relationship is very good. I was present both times. We trust each other and there is no rift between us. However, the biggest victim of this incident is Miss Ouyang. She is not married yet. Reputation is very important to a woman. I don't know what the editor is trying to do by slandering her. When Miss Ouyang first returned to High City, she had to find a place to stay in the north of the city for work reasons. I was the one who offered the house to her. If you don't believe me, you can go and confront her. Miss Ouyang is a dignified woman. Everyone in High City knows that. I think it is too much for her to be criticized just because she was in a relationship in university. Everyone here has gone to university. Why don't you do a spot check now? How many of you did not break up? Could it be that because they had broken up, their relationship with their current lover was not good? If you are, then stand up bravely and argue with me. Record this argument well and put it on the internet so that more people can watch. Yi Er's tone was full of humor and did not sound like she was criticizing anyone. Using her tone, the atmosphere was so relaxed that it did not feel like a woman who was holding a press conference because of a mistress. The audience laughed. Who would be stupid enough to stand up and say that their ex was better than the current one? You still want to argue? If they had a boyfriend or girlfriend in the future, the explanation would be a cover-up. When Jiang Zhao and I got married, Jiang Zhao was already 29 years old. I feel that it is normal for a 29-year-old man to have a relationship. I feel that he does not need to be responsible for his past relationships. What do you think? But he is the deputy mayor. He is not an ordinary person. Someone was finding fault with Yi Er. Yi Er narrowed her eyes slightly. Her tone was still gentle and slow, but it felt like there was a knife hidden behind her smile. But you are a reporter. People say that being a reporter is a sacred and noble profession. Your pen can kill and kill. With a wave of your pen, you can decide the happiness and unhappiness of others. Don't you think your status is higher than mine? Then shouldn't you be responsible for your past relationships? After Yi Er finished speaking, she smiled at the reporters in a very friendly manner. The reporter who asked the question was stunned. How did it become his responsibility? We are going to ask about Deputy Mayor Jiang. He needs to give us an explanation. Handsome, you are too agitated. My husband is not Deputy Mayor Jiang when he was in university. He was in a relationship at that time. What did you do? Could it be that you know you will be the TV station chief in the future, and that's why you did not date in university? Ha ha ha. Ching Su, who was backstage, laughed. Yi Er was good at debating. The reporter was confused by Yi Er. What she wanted to ask was not the past. She wanted to ask about the present. Even if last night's incident was because the editor did not take the appropriate photos, what about the previous incident? Yi Er shrugged his shoulders. I was also there the previous time. There should be surveillance cameras in my neighborhood, and we went home together. You also know that the editor is not reliable. You would rather believe him than me. Even if you continue to question him, you will not get any results. Or are you saying that you are willing to believe an unreliable editor? You want to learn from him and create some unreliable news to entertain the public. Do you really want to be a reporter with this kind of quality? I don't think it's a good idea. The reporter took a deep breath. This was clearly not a press conference. What kind of nonsense was this? Just as he was about to question further, Yi Er ignored him and said seriously to the audience, "My ability to organize my words is not very good. So in the end, I still want to take this opportunity to apologize to Miss Ouyang. Last time, because I was not at my new home, Miss Ouyang called me to inform me. I asked her to bring Jiang Zhao back to the apartment in the north of the city so that I could pick him up immediately. Yesterday, the three of us chatted together for a while, and then we sent Miss Ouyang back to the north of the city. In the end, we were misunderstood time and time again. I also hope that the editor who wrote this report will come forward. My husband and I can forget about it. I have said before that we trust each other and there are no cracks. But this editor should apologize to Miss Ouyang. As for the psychological damage and compensation, I also hope that Miss Ouyang can protect her own reputation and interests. Whether she is a civil servant or not, I feel that she should have the right to protect her own reputation. Otherwise, the next time an unethical editor wants to become famous, he will make groundless accusations without any legal responsibility. In a harmonious society, everyone is equal. Ad Shinwu 799. Chapter 603. When Ouyang Yan heard the audio link, she was so angry that her face turned uglier. What kind of bullshit apology was this? This person was trying to shift the blame of Jiang Zhao onto her. In the end, both of them were fine, and Ouyang Yan's reputation was ruined. Her reputation was ruined. She had to use the law to protect herself. This damn Yun Yi. What a disgrace. She threw her earpiece on the floor and stepped on it. Jiang Zhao's car had stopped at the university, but he did not alight from the car. He did not want to miss the voice of the person talking on the phone. He also does not want to eavesdrop outside the car. Actually, he did not want to say anything about this incident. No one will dare to do anything about it. His father and grandfather will suppress this matter. Luckily, news about someone like him will not be broadcasted live. Today's news will not appear on the government's media, and it will not be broadcasted. Dong Xiaobing wanted to stop this, but he could not. The phone was switched off. After that, he called Xia Qian. Xia Qian told him that Yi Er did not want to get a divorce, and that was why she held this press conference. Dong Xiaobing immediately asked his men to check the CCTV footage from the north of the city. He was a political figure, and it was not suitable for him to hold a press conference to announce his past. But Yi Er did not know what was going on. But when Yi Er heard from Xia Qian's phone that there was only Jiang Zhao in the house and no Deputy Mayor Jiang, Dong Xiaobing felt his eyes sting. He felt bitter when he heard those words. She had approached him because he was the deputy mayor. But at this moment, Dong Xiaobing was willing to take her words as the truth. She said their relationship was good, and they trusted each other. She also said her husband was tolerant of her shortcomings. Dong Xiaobing thought to himself, just let her be. If she were to create a mess, he would clean it up. Because of what she said, their relationship was good, and they trusted each other. Because of what Xia Qian said, Yi Er said she did not want to get a divorce. Sigh. Just let her be. Anyway, Dong Xiaobing had never spoiled her. Putting aside the sensitivity of his position, he felt that Yi Er was really cute when she was talking. Maybe being the mayor's wife had made her suppress her personality too much. She was not even 20 years old, and he felt sorry for her. Qin Zhen sat in Jiang Liqing's office with a cold face. Jiang Liqing poured a glass of water but didn't pass it to Qin Zhen. He just put it on the table and drank his own glass. Jiang Liqing. Qin Zhen hated it when Jiang Liqing was like this. He was usually like a raging lion, but as long as he was in front of her, he would be lukewarm, making her feel like she couldn't get angry. At the very least, they had to argue for a bit before they would get angry. What do you plan to do about Zhao Zhao? Ah. Jiang Liqing, on the other hand, was not in a hurry. The winter military uniform looked very thick and textured. For someone of his age, he looked tall and handsome. Of course, but you agreed to let him marry Yunyi, Qin Zhen was stunned. Was he trying to settle old scores with her? I didn't expect Yunyi to hold a press conference. I've already talked to the government media. This matter will not blow up in a month. Jiang Liqing still looked indifferent. Are you still a man? You don't even have any reaction when something like this happened to our son. Jiang Liqing raised his tiger-like eyes and looked at Qin Zhen without blinking. Could it be that he had misunderstood? Qin Zhen didn't like people who were gentle. She liked people who were hot-tempered? He had been suppressing his temper in front of her for so many years after their divorce. Was it easy for him? Then how do you want me to react? Jiang Liqing raised his voice and became fiercer. No one can control that brat now. How can you control him? As his mother, how can you control him? If you didn't go against me in the past, would he be able to marry Yunyi? It's all because you are muddle-headed that you agreed to this marriage. Qin Zhen was stunned. What? Jiang Liqing dared to scold her. Scolded her for being muddle-headed. Humph. I'm just afraid that our son will follow in your footsteps. If he ends up like you, being depressed for the rest of his life because the woman he likes got married, that's my son. Why should I not agree to it? Jiang Liqing wanted to explode when he heard Qin Zhen say this. What was the point of bringing up old scores? Who hadn't been young before? But Qin Zhen didn't like him being gentle. She said that he wasn't like a man, so she raised her voice. Then why are you talking about it now? You made the mistake, and you still have the cheek to come here and make a scene. You should be the one to clean up this mess. Qin Zhen's face turned pale. She couldn't stand Jiang Liqing suddenly speaking to her like this. Did he mean that she shouldn't have come to him? But he was Jiang Zhao's biological father. If she didn't come to him, who would he go to? She turned and grabbed her bag on the chair, opened the door and walked out. Jiang Liqing suddenly froze. Before he could finish scolding her, his ex-wife had run away. Wrong again. After Yi Er's press conference ended, Jiang Zhao told Xia Qian to let Yi Er take the call. Yi Er didn't seem to hear the questioning from the people below the stage. She elegantly lifted the curtains and left the backstage. As soon as she walked down the stairs, she fell weakly into Xia Qian's arms. Xia Qian was still on the phone with Jiang Zhao. She originally wanted Yi Er to take the call, but Yi Er almost fainted from being nervous for a long time. Xia Qian was so scared that she cried out, Yi Er, are you okay? Don't faint, I can't carry you. You're so tall, and I'm so delicate. Hey, even though we're backstage, aren't you afraid that someone will take photos? Hey, take care of your image, Yi Er. Hold on a little longer. Jiang Zhao got out of the car and slammed the door. He asked anxiously, Xia Qian, are you guys still backstage? It was noisy backstage. Xia Qian was holding the phone and hugging Yi Er's waist. She didn't hear Jiang Zhao at all. She slowly moved to the chair. After she put Yi Er down, she picked up the phone and placed it next to Yi Er's ear. Your husband is looking for you. Yi Er felt like she needed to take in 2 breaths of air. She was a little breathless. After hearing Xia Qian's words, she didn't dare to answer Jiang Zhao's call. She kept her head down, not knowing how Jiang Zhao would deal with her tonight. Until a pair of shiny black leather shoes appeared in front of her eyes. A pair of creased trousers wrapped around a pair of slender legs. She looked up and knew that she had provoked him. She exhaled, pouted, and opened her slender arms. Her pitiful eyes glistened with tears as she said in a pitiful voice, Husband, I'm scared. Hubby, I'm so scared. I'm still young, you can't hit me, what nonsense are you talking about? Jiang Zhao glanced at Xia Qian, who was standing next to him with her eyes wide open as if she wanted to question him. When did he hit her? Oh right, last time he hit Yi Er's but in front of Xia Qian, but he didn't have the tendency to be violent. Jiang Zhao's voice was cold. In front of Xia Qian, he really couldn't do anything intimate. He coughed dryly and said, Xia Qian, please go and see if the people outside have left. He handed over his car keys. Also, please drive my car that was parked under the locust tree to the back door. I'll take her back to the hospital first. Xia Qian said unhappily, oh. Although she felt that Jiang Zhao was wrong to hit Yi Er, she was a little afraid of Jiang Zhao because of the incident last time. At this time, she could only take the keys and leave angrily. After taking a few steps, she turned back and said to Yi Er, call me if you need anything. Yi Er said, go quickly. It's just a few steps. Why are you wasting money on the phone? Xia Qian rolled her eyes at Yi Er. You took my kindness for granted. She was just worried that Jiang Zhao would hit her. As soon as Xia Qian left, Jiang Zhao lifted his trousers and squatted in front of Yi Er. He reached out and rubbed her temples. Are you still dizzy? I'm not dizzy. Then why were you dizzy just now? Jiang Zhao helped Yi Er stand up. Yi Er felt a little more energized. I was scared just now. If you were scared, then why did you still do it? Jiang Zhao lightly slapped Yi Er's butt. Her butt was really bouncy. Yi Er stomped her foot. Jiang Zhao, you said you wouldn't hit me. Jiang Zhao shrugged. I didn't say that. So you sent Xia Qian away because you wanted to hit me. Jiang Zhao, I hate you to death. Jiang Zhao was stunned for a moment. He said angrily, if you love me to death, then I'd be surprised. I won't love you to death. I don't know either. When Unwu arrived at the hospital, the nurses refused to reveal where Yi Er had gone, so he went next door to look for Qing Su. Qing Su was sitting on the bed playing games. When she saw Unwu, she waved. Unwu, are you here to play again? Great, let's play games together. Unwu smiled gently. Lulu, why isn't Yi Er here today? Qing Su felt that Unwu was quite tactful. When she heard Yi Er call her Lulu, she followed suit. She went to the auditorium of the College of Communication in the university town to hold a press conference. Did you see the newspaper today? Yes, I saw it. Unwu continued to stand at the foot of Qing Su's bed. He did not walk over to watch her play games. Qing Su moved the mouse as she typed on the keyboard. Yeah, she cried when she saw it this morning. Then she went to look for her friend and held a press conference. She was there for quite a while. I wanted to go, but she wouldn't let me go. Unwu frowned. He adjusted his collar and was about to leave when he nodded and smiled. Yi Er did the right thing. You need to get some rest. You all seem to care about me. Qing Su felt quite conflicted. She wanted to talk to Unwu about Yi Er, but she couldn't do anything in the game. It wasn't that she didn't care about her friends, but the game was also very important. Unwu said, of course, we're all friends. It's only right that we care about each other. I just came over to take a look. Since you're fine, I'm going to work. Have a good rest. Okay, bye. Qing Su thought about it and decided to say goodbye. She didn't have the energy to deal with him now. After saying goodbye, she buried her head in the game. Unwu drove to the university town and stopped calling Yi Er's cell phone. If it was turned off, it wouldn't be turned back on so quickly. From the city center to the university town, they had to take the expressway bridge. In the middle of the bridge, there was a thick red and white striped partition. Yunwu's car was separated from the partition by the Audi coming from the opposite side. The wind brought up the fine dust and then floated in the world. The phone in the Qin family's house had been busy. Qin Rongfang didn't put down the phone after he answered it. After arguing for a whole morning, Mr. Jiang Zero called and his voice sounded like frying iron beans. "Old bastard, how did my grandson become like this? What kind of grandfather are you? I told you not to stay in High City. You can't protect him, but you insisted. I tell you, once his term is up, I will find a way to get him back to Jiangzhou. You can't stop me." Qin Rongfang was actually anxious about Jiang Zhao's affairs, but he didn't want to be outdone. "You're the old bastard. My grandson is very good. Nothing happened to him when you took care of him. People who achieve great things always have to have some troubles. I don't need you to care about me. Zhao Zhao is willing to stay in High City. It's useless even if it's your wishful thinking. I tell you, just take care of him at home. Even if you want to interfere in Zhao Zhao's affairs, I won't give you such a chance. You old bastard. So many things happened to my grandson this year. You're not qualified to be an elder." Ad Hongcha 866. Chapter 604. Qin Rongfang had always liked to dress up like an immortal. If it was summer, he would hold a folding fan in his hand and wave it. The calligraphy on the folding fan had to be from a famous artist. He was very modest outside, but when he met Xi Jintian and old Master Jiang, his temper could not be stopped. This was because he always felt that he was at a disadvantage in front of Xi Jintian and old Master Jiang if he was polite. Those guys always said, "I'm a gangster," or "I'm here to fight the Japanese." If he did not act like one, he would be their son. "Why do you care if I'm qualified or not? Don't meddle in my family's business. Don't talk about a scandal. Even if he was photographed kissing another woman, I can settle it." After saying that, he hung up with a "pia" sound. He took a few deep breaths. He would not give that old thing a chance to scold him back. His face flushed red. He took a sip of tea and the color slowly receded, returning to his normal complexion. Sitting by the phone, he thought for a while and called Jiang Liqing. "Liqing. Hey, Dad." Jiang Liqing had been calling him Dad for more than 10 years after the divorce. Qin Rongfang never said anything and was happy about it. It was as if his daughter and son-in-law had not divorced. "Liqing, I have something to discuss with you." "Dad, go ahead." "Yi Er's intentions are good. She was born in the Yun family, a wealthy family. Her family situation is different from ours." Qin Rongfang paused. Jiang Liqing immediately said, "Yes, Yi Er really did not consider today's matter." Qin Rongfang held the phone in one hand and held the lid of an old-fashioned teacup in the other. He gently slid the tea leaves on the surface of the water. "Actually, you know that Zhao Zhao is outstanding. Not to mention his current position, his looks and figure are all things that women outside want to touch." What Qin Rongfang said was the truth. There were countless women in Jiang Zhao's unit who sent him autumn vegetables. It was not easy for him to remain chaste for so many years. Not to mention his family background. In the past few years, many families in Haiqing have been saying that they want to marry their daughters to our Zhao Zhao, right? Jiang Liqing agreed and said, "Yeah, Daddy is right. That girl from the Zhang family has a good family background, right? Our Zhao Zhao doesn't like her no matter what. Actually, her family Ouyang is quite good. She has been educated and reasonable since she was young. No one can say anything bad about her. She was once in a relationship with Zhao Zhao." Sigh, I also thought that Zhao Zhao wouldn't want that girl from the Yun family at that time. He's not someone who can't differentiate between current affairs and has his own ideas. But after getting married, he can't separate himself from the family Ouyang. I feel that, regardless of whether this is true or not, it can't be our Zhao Zhao's fault alone. Qin Rongfang said what he wanted to say. Jiang Liqing was stunned. Sure enough, the two old masters of the Jiang and Qin families were protective of their children. There were layers upon layers of hidden meaning in their words. Dad, what are you trying to say? Jiang Liqing was a little confused. Could it be that his father-in-law had called just to chat with him about his thoughts on this matter from the beginning to the end? That couldn't be, right? What I want to say is that Xiao Xiao is a good catch. There are many women who want to stick to him. We might encounter such situations again in the future. Yi Er has already done her best to suppress this press conference, but what she did was a little wrong. She was too reckless. But as you know, she's injured now, so it's difficult for me to communicate with others. Xiao Xiao is beside me, so I don't know how to express myself. But you're Yi Er's father-in-law, so it's easy to talk to her. You should tell her to be more careful in the future. After all, a family with a political background is different from a family with a business background. But you should watch your tone when you speak, in case Xiao Xiao accuses you of bullying that girl again. Recently, he's been very protective of that girl, so I can't be bothered to say anything. It's a novelty. Qin Rongfang finally finished expressing his thoughts. Jiang Liqing almost vomited blood. This was his father-in-law. After all the calculations, it was his fault. Ever since Yi Er was hit by the car, everyone had seen Jiang Zhao's attitude. In the past, Qingjin felt that her son had been snatched away and would get jealous easily. But now, she had restrained herself, afraid that she would make her son unhappy again. This father-in-law of his was quite accurate. He didn't let Qingjin scold people, but let him do it. What did this father-in-law say? That it was difficult to communicate. That he didn't know how to express himself. He felt that this father-in-law of his was quite good at expressing himself. He even knew how to tell him to watch his tone. Dad, I don't think there's a need for this. No matter how hot-tempered Jiang Liqing was and how much he wanted to scold Yi Er for what she did today, when he heard Qin Rongfang's request, he was enlightened. He had to learn from Qin Rongfang and not be the bad guy. After all, the press conference had already started. Even if he wanted to scold, he had to see his son's attitude first. If his son acted like it was nothing, he would endure it and talk about it next time. How can there not be a need? Qin Rongfang straightened his back and argued. What does Yi Er know? You must remind her. If something like this happens again in the future, will everyone hold a press conference? Will she be able to handle it? When the time comes, no one will remember the mayor's achievements, but there will be lots of scandals. Also, the moment she responds, she will stir up trouble again. As long as someone wants to create trouble for her, she will continue to stir up trouble. She should not have given those people a chance. Jiang Liqing had no way to refute. Okay. I will go and visit her tonight. Qin Rongfang happily replied. Good, good, good. Liqing, take care of yourself too. Jiang Liqing was speechless and laughed as he hung up the phone. Everyone wants to bully him. He still needs to perform well. Ouyang Yanfeng stomped on the earpiece, still unable to vent the anger in her heart. Yunyi had always been a sharp-tongued woman, she had always known that. She also knew that she loved to paint a picture of peace. Otherwise, when Yunyi saw her and Jiang Zhao hugging each other on their wedding day, she would definitely have fallen out with them. However, at that time, Yunyi acted as if nothing had happened and pulled Jiang Zhao away. This kind of ability was really not something that ordinary women could tolerate. In front of Jiang Zhao, Yunyi called her sister Yan affectionately. But behind Jiang Zhao's back, Yunyi was arrogant. She said the apartment belongs to her husband and she can move in whenever she wants. The last time she dragged Jiang Zhao away from Qingbei condominium was a stark contrast. What's more infuriating was that Yunyi even framed her. If Ouyang Yen wanted to prank someone, why would she need to push him away? This Yunyi was the best actress, but this woman was not even 20 years old. Where did she learn such wild tricks? Ouyang Yen felt that she was good at enduring. She wanted to quietly make Jiang Zhao and Yunyi divorce. They did not have a child, so she would not mind if Jiang Zhao divorced. But now, the situation was getting worse and worse. It had completely deviated from her original plan. This incident was supposed to agitate Yunyi, but now she was so agitated that she did not want the contents of today's press conference to be released. If it was released, how would she be able to face others? She was willing to be a third party and go out to meet people. At least people would acknowledge her relationship with Jiang Zhao. Now, she was the joke of Haiqing. Yunyi even stood up for her and said something about being dignified. What did she mean? Couldn't Ouyang Yen have something to do with Jiang Zhao? The reporter who wrote the report did not even have to apologize to Yunyi and Jiang Zhao. How generous, how magnanimous, how open-minded a mayor's wife should be. But Miss Ouyang was innocent. The editor who wrote the report should apologize to Miss Ouyang, who had a dignified character. Bastard. She originally wanted to reply with some ambiguous words, but she was blocked by this damned Yunyi. Ouyang Yan's phone rang, but she did not hear it. After a few times, she picked up in a panic. Grandpa. The old man's voice on the phone was kind and dignified. Yun, are you satisfied with this matter? Grandpa has helped you as much as I can, but you're too late. You should have come out before Yunyi came out. Now she has everything to say. The Jiang family and the Qin family have already informed the media. The contents of today's press conference will not be broadcasted on the official media, but there will definitely be a video on the internet. If you come out again, will it be of any use? Grandpa. Ouyang Yen slowly squatted on the ground. Her head was between her knees. She covered her mouth and cried helplessly. Grandpa, what should I do? What should I do? I've only liked one man in my life. Grandpa, Jiang Zhao lied to me. He said he would wait for me. He said he would wait for me, so I left Haiqing to experience life. But when I came back, he got married. Grandpa, he lied to me. I've never been in a relationship outside, and he married another woman. He lied to me, he lied to me. Yun, don't cry. The old man sighed. You. Grandpa spoils you too much. You're just short of the moon and the stars. Grandpa has already scolded you for doing this, but it's useless. Grandpa just can't change your mind. But the Jiang family can't be compared to other families. We've been friends for generations. Yun, it's not ancient times now. You still have to marry the elder and the younger generation. But Grandpa, he shouldn't have lied to me. If he hadn't said that, I wouldn't have believed him. I would have either left and wouldn't miss him, or I wouldn't have left. He lied to me. Grandpa, I think there's no meaning in living at all. He lied to me like this. Ouyang Yen collapsed weakly on the ground and curled up. Her outer shell had been torn apart, and she couldn't be dignified and reserved anymore. Yun. The old man's voice suddenly deepened. Yun. You're not allowed to do anything stupid. Grandpa will think of a way. Grandpa, you can't not help me. You brought me up single-handedly. Grandpa, if you don't help me, I'll really have no one to rely on. Jiang Zhao helped Yi Er back to the hospital. Yi Er didn't dare to offend Jiang Zhao, so she didn't say a word throughout the journey. Jiang Zhao kept thinking about the minor details of the matter. He didn't mean to ignore Yi Er, but Yi Er felt that Jiang Zhao was angry with her. She curled up in a corner and didn't dare to act rashly. Take a rest. If you're free, go and play with Ching Su. I'm going to work, Jiang Shao said anxiously as he prepared to leave after settling Yi Er on the bed. Yi Er sighed. Okay, I know. When Jiang Zhao was about to leave, Yi Er stopped him. Ah Zhao, you're angry with me, aren't you? You can tell that I'm angry. Jiang Zhao stopped in his tracks and happened to walk to the wardrobe in the corridor. He looked at himself in the mirror and tidied up his appearance. I'm not blind. You never discuss anything with me, Jiang Zhao said reproachfully as he turned around. How could I not discuss it with you? I asked you to look for Ouyang Yen, but you refused. So you hung up on me. So you went to look for Xia Qian to hold a press conference. So you had the guts to turn off your phone. Jiang Zhao didn't want to argue, but for some reason, the two of them became more serious as they spoke. She didn't treat him as her husband at all and acted on her own accord. He was the head of the household. Since when did she have the right to make decisions? Even though he was soft-hearted and allowed her to finish her sentence, her starting point was wrong. He didn't pursue the matter with her, but she started to blame him. Jiang Zhao, you're so annoying. So annoying. Yi Er punched the bed angrily. This man was so annoying when he was being fierce to her. Of course you hate me. Don't tell me you like me. Jiang Zhao remembered that he had said something similar when she said she hated him. Now that he said it again, he felt like he had to get to the bottom of this. I don't like you. You bastard. You only know how to be fierce to me. You're simply a bastard. Jiang Zhao smiled and raised his handsome eyebrows. He was pleased with himself and looked like he wanted to anger the little hussy who was yelling at him. That's great. I don't like you at all either. Look at you, you're just like a little shrew. Ouyang Yen isn't a shrew, Yi Er said angrily. That's right. Of course she's not a shrew. Do you even need to ask? Can't you tell? Just as Jiang Zhao was wondering if Yi Er was jealous, Yi Er harumphed. Wu isn't a bastard either. He's much more gentlemanly than you. People like you who don't know how to respect women should be taught a lesson. Jiang Zhao's face instantly darkened. What did you say? Yi Er was angry that Jiang Zhao was still protecting Ouyang Yen when they were together. Can't you tell? A handsome young man like Wu is a true gentleman. Handsome young man. Jiang Zhao was so mad that he wanted to smash something. She said that she wasn't in the mood to go to work, but why did she have to King talk about Wu again? She was still thinking about him all the time. She felt upset whenever she didn't mention him. Young man. Handsome young man. When he thought about how Wu was about the same age as Yi Er, Jiang Zhao was furious. Yi Er sat on the edge of the bed and stood up. She thought about how she was afraid that the D*M and Ouyang Yen would beat her to it. She had fought so hard to protect her marriage, and she was still injured. Was it easy for her? In the end, her husband thought that she was a shrew. A mistress is better. A mistress is gentle like water. Bah! Isn't that right? Wu is better looking than that Yun of yours, isn't he? What's so good about that Yun of yours? Isn't she just good at pretending? What's so great about that? She's such a vicious woman. You treat her like a treasure. Is she as kind as Wu? Jiang Zhao really had the urge to resort to domestic violence. If she hadn't just recovered from her serious injuries, if she hadn't just recovered from her old injuries yesterday, and if she hadn't fainted from exhaustion backstage today, he would have beaten her up today. Really, this woman was clearly asking for a beating. Jiang Zhao suppressed his anger, but when he saw Yi Er raise her chin and act like she was in the right, he couldn't suppress his anger anymore. He rushed over and grabbed Yi Er's shoulders, pushed her back, and pressed her onto the bed. Yi Er reached out to hit him. Jiang Zhao. What are you trying to do? Jiang Zhao didn't even take off his shoes. He put his knees on the bed, raised his leg, and straddled the air. Damn the *mn wretched girl. I'm going to teach you a lesson today until you can't call out Shi Yunhua's name. Beauty novel, Songshu 566.